Good evening. Welcome to Byju's IAS. Am I audible and visible? Yeah, good evening, Roshan. Ankush. Thank you, Roshan. Good evening, everyone. Gunjan, hello, sir. Hello. Sharmi, Meshak, Yuksin, Chicha, Dava. Let some more people join in and then I'll begin. Nancy, Simran. Ashish, Anushka, Seema. Good evening, everyone. Ankush, I'll answer that. Just hold on. Rupa, Ashwini. Okay. So, Golam, let some more people join in and then I'll begin. Roshni, Beamare, camera is inclined. Just hold on. Yeah, thank you, Ashwini. You should come. The camera is tilting a bit. Camera.
This one is
This one.
okay. This one.
This,
Down? Down it won't come, sir.
it won't come.
No,
Just
sir.
little bit up a little bit.
No.
That's what the student is telling. Camera is tilting. Camera inclined. That's what he's saying. Just check. No. Is it okay now? Is the camera inclined now? Everything is okay now? Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, yesterday I could not find the time to discuss about Kiladi, but then I gave you a brief overview of Kiladi. That note is there in the post-Maurya chapter. Please go through it. All the traces of a civilization are found at Kiladi. Kiladi in the Shivaganga district of the Tamil Nadu. Civilization has old as 2,500 years has been found there. Probably it was contemporaneous with the Harappan civilization. So people of Kiladi had a very flourishing textile industry. They knew how to read and write, so they had a script. Then of course you have potteries which have been found. Terracotta potteries have been found. Burials have been found at Kiladi, and it had also a very flourishing textile industry. So and also people were living in cities at Kiladi. So that small note I have added at the end of the post-Maurya period chapter. Please go through it. Okay, so let us come. Um, yeah, just go through it. That is the basic. That is the gist of whatever I just now told you, Megha. Just go through it. It is there in the post Maurya PPT. In the chapter. Now we'll come back here. Gupta period. Let's talk about the Guptas. Now, what do you know about the Guptas? Anybody here? What do you know about the Guptas? You must have studied about the Gupta period in your school days, or even otherwise, even after school. Some of you who have done BA. Do you have any idea about the Guptas? Seema says coins. Okay. Roshan. Okay, sure. Roshan doesn't know much about the Guptas. Gunjan says Kumar Gupta. It was known as Golden Period. Okay, according to Rajesh. Okay. Greatest was Samudragupta. Very good, Ankush. And Gupta period is called Golden Age. Divya, that will be done. Don't worry. I will follow that up. Uh, Golam and Samudragupta is called Napoleon of India. Okay, great. So some of you know something about the Gupta period. So let me give you the highlight of the Gupta period. UPSC last year in the mains, they asked a question about the Gupta period, the contribution of the Guptas to enhancement of art and heritage of India. So, what is their contribution towards enhancement of culture and heritage of India, along with the Chola period? So, they had asked this question, highlight the contribution of the Guptas and the Cholas towards the development of culture and heritage of India. So, that's what they had asked. So, let us talk about the Guptas. Let me give you the highlight of the Gupta period. Okay, so let's talk about the Guptas. I'll come to the political history in some time and we'll discuss the PPTs, but then let us understand everything about the Guptas, Gupta period. Now, the Guptas ruled from approximately 275 AD to 550 AD. So, on the ruins of the Kushanas, understand this, on the ruins of the Kushanas rose the Guptas, and they brought most parts of North India under their control. Now, what are the highlights of the Gupta period? So, let me give you the highlights of the Gupta period. Then we will discuss the PPTs. So, what are the highlights of the Gupta period? So, here the Guptas brought most parts of North India under their control. So, here, first of all, you need to understand that the Gupta period, according to many historians, according to the classical historians, the historians of yesteryears, they have considered the Gupta period as a golden age. Understand this? It has been considered as a golden age. Now, of course, modern historians reject this concept of a golden age. Understand this? On what basis Gupta period was called a golden age? We see great developments in certain areas, like for example, um, art and architecture, literature, particularly Sanskrit literature, then developments in science and technology. So this was the period of Aryabhatta, Varahamihira, Brahmagupta. So it was the golden age of Sanskrit literature, science and technology, great developments in mathematics, astronomy, astrology, etc., art and architecture. So in these areas, we witnessed remarkable progress or great developments during the Gupta period. And on that basis, only on the basis of remarkable progress in these three areas, art and architecture, literature, particularly Sanskrit literature, and science and technology, the Gupta period has been called as the golden age. Now, please understand, golden age means what? Golden age, as you can understand, means great progress, remarkable progress in all aspects of human endeavor. In all areas, we should see great progress, including in society, economy, etc. Now, what we notice is modern historians don't agree to this concept of a golden age. They say it's a myth. Golden age concept is a myth. In fact, we never had a golden age in our history. Now, the question is, why can't the Gupta period be called a golden age? Why do modern historians don't consider the Gupta period as a golden age? So here we see corruptions in our society. During the Gupta period, a number of corruptions existed in the society. So what are the corruptions we can talk about? So here we have Sati. Sati was there. Child marriages were there. Child marriage were there, right? Dowry was there. Then women being denied education and property. So women denied education and property rights. This was there. Untouchability was there. Slavery was there. So when you have all these corruptions existing in our society, in the Gupta society, the question is, how can you call the Gupta period as a golden age? You cannot. So then what can the Gupta period be termed as? If you cannot call it as the golden age, then what can you call it as? Modern historians consider this period as a classical age. They say it is a classical age. It was a classical age, nothing, and we never had a golden age in our history. Did you understand? You can never call any period in our history as a golden age. We never had a golden age. So that concept is a myth. There's no truth in that. Because of all these corruptions in the Gupta society, we cannot call this period the Gupta period as a golden age, and only we see remarkable progress in some areas like art and architecture, literature, science and technology. This is number one. Number two, I'm giving you the highlights of the Gupta period. Then we'll discuss the Gupta period in detail, okay, including the political history. Now, during the Gupta period, we have three forms of temple building which came into existence. Understand this? Three forms of temple building. Three forms of temple building came into existence during the Gupta period. The Shilpa Shastra books, that is the books of Indian architecture, books on Indian architecture rather, Shilpa Shastra books, mention three forms of temple building. Okay, three forms of temple building. North Indian style is called Nagara. So North Indian style, in North India, we have the Nagara style of temple building. So what is Nagara style? What are the various features of a Nagara style? We will discuss as part of art and culture topic. I'll not be discussing that now. So North India, we have Nagara style. South India, during the Gupta period, we have the Dravida style of temple building. And then a combination of these two, that is where Nagara and Dravida features are both found. That's called Vesara style. Vesara style. So this is in central India, or rather Deccan. So anyway, we'll take it as central India. We have the Vesara style, a combination of North Indian Nagara and South Indian Dravida. So the Shilpa Shastra books, books on Indian architecture, divide Indian temple building styles into three parts: Nagara, Dravida, Vesara. And these three type of temple buildings came into existence during the Gupta period. Okay, this is number two. Third development is, I'll write here, third development is, we have the gradual development of freestanding structural temples during the Gupta period. You see, temples initially were built inside caves. Initially, we have cave temples. Initially, temples were found inside caves. So, if you have a hill, so if this is a hill, so the hill was scooped out. Okay, the hill was scooped out like this, and a cave was constructed. A cave was dug up. A cave was dug up like this. Okay, so this is a cave. So early temples were cave temples. But then during the Gupta period, we have the gradual development of freestanding structural temples. Freestanding structural temples, which came into existence. And so the freestanding structural temples came into existence, and these temples, freestanding structural temples, were built according to the so-called Panchayatana style. Panchayatana style of temple building. Okay, yeah. So initial temples were found inside caves, and later we have freestanding structural temples built according to the Panchayatana style. Now, what is Panchayatana style? I'll use another page here for our convenience. So what is Panchayatana style? What is Panchayatana style of temples? Let us say you go to a Shiva temple. Okay. So this is, let us say this is the Garbhagriha, the sanctum sanctorum as it is called in English. So let us say this is the door of the Garbhagriha, and this is the Shiva Linga, and this is the main shrine. The main shrine is this, the Garbhagriha. In Sanskrit, Garbhagriha or womb literally means womb house. So if it's a Shiva temple, the Shiva Linga is kept here. The main deity's idol is kept here in the form of a linga. So let us say this is the linga. Now, around this main shrine, we have 4 subsidiary shrines, all under the same roof. So there's one shrine here, another shrine here, another shrine here, and another shrine here. And all these 4 shrines are under the same common roof. Around the sanctum sanctorum, around the Garbhagriha, we have 4 subsidiary shrines. For example, this small cell, this could be a small room for the consort of Shiva, the wife of Shiva. So wife of Shiva has a small room for herself, the consort of Shiva, and she could be called by different names, right? Then For example, this is the consort of Shiva. Then this could be, let us say, Ganesh. This could be a small cell for Ganesh, the elephant-headed son of Shiva and Parvati. This could be a small cell for, let us say, Hanuman. Okay, and this could be for the Navagrahas, for the 9 planets. So 4 subsidiary shrines around the main shrine. And this type of temple building came to be called as the Panchayatana style. Panchayatana style of temple building. Panchayatan style of temple building. Garbhagriha and around it 4 subsidiary shrines. Did you understand? This is called Panchayatana style of temple building, which came into existence for the first time during the Gupta period. So here, initial temples were cave temples. Then we have freestanding structural temples. We see gradual evolution of freestanding structural temples under 5 stages. And in the last stages, we have temples built according to the Panchayatana style. This is another important development during the Gupta period. Then number 4, you see, during this period, during the Gupta period is called Golden Age of Sanskrit literature. It is the golden age, definitely, of Sanskrit literature. And we have great Sanskrit scholars like Kalidasa existing during the Gupta period. So we have the Navaratnas in the court of Chandragupta II Vikramaditya, one of the Gupta kings by name Chandragupta II. And in his court at Ujjain, we have the Navaratnas, or the 9 luminaries like Kalidasa, Ghatakarpaka, Kshipanaka, Betarabhatta, then Shenku, etc. So there were 9 luminaries. It is the golden age of Sanskrit literature, and a number of books were written in Sanskrit, poems, dramas, grammar books, Sanskrit books they were all written in Sanskrit language, and of course, books on science and technology, astronomy, mathematics, including medicine. So many books on many subjects were written in the Sanskrit language. So it is the golden age of Sanskrit literature. Number 5, another highlight of the Gupta period. We have great scientists and mathematicians. Like you have remarkable progress in science and technology during the Gupta period. Science and technology. So this was the age when we have people like Aryabhatta, Varahamihira, and Brahmagupta operating. So we have great scholars like Aryabhatta, Varahamihira, Brahmagupta operating in the Gupta period. So for example, Aryabhatta gave the heliocentric theory. That is, the sun is the center of the universe. Sun is the center of the universe, and all other planets revolve around the sun. Earlier, it was thought that the Earth is the center of the universe, the geocentric theory, as you all know. But then Aryabhatta revised that opinion, and he proved that it is sun which is the center of the universe, and all the other planets revolve around it. Then he also said that the Earth revolves around its or rotates around its axis. Right? So he gave all these things. He spoke about the decimal system. He gave the concept of zero. He gave the reasons for the eclipses, the solar and lunar eclipses, the true cause of solar and lunar eclipses. And also he calculated the circumference of the Earth, which is very near to the modern estimation. It's very near to the modern calculation, the size of the Earth, the circumference of the Earth. So these are the great works of Aryabhatta. He wrote Surya Siddhanta. One of the books written by him is Surya Siddhanta. Then we have also Varahamihira, who was again a great astronomer. Then Brahmagupta, he anticipated Newton. Newton, as we all know, gave the theory of gravitation. So Brahmagupta in the Gupta period told that it is the nature of the earth to attract and keep things to itself. So it is the nature of the earth to attract and keep things to itself. So in other words, he was indirectly speaking about gravitation. So this is another development during the Gupta period. Great progress in science and technology, and also metallurgy. We see great progress in metallurgy during the Gupta period. The best quality iron, and the best quality copper belongs to the Gupta period. So here you can see here on somebody asked this question at the beginning of this session. What is this picture about? Whatever a picture you see on your screen before you. This is the iron pillar at Mehroli. This is the iron pillar at Mehroli in Delhi. So in the Qutub Minar complex, in the Qutub complex where you have the Qutub Minar, in that complex we have this iron pillar standing. This is more than 1600 years old. It belongs to the period of the Gupta. It belonged to the period of the Gupta period, right? And even after more than 1600 years, we don't see a trace of rust on it. So it is 99.7% pure iron, pure wrought iron. Very less sulfur and very high phosphorus content has been there in this particular iron. Nobody has been able to make a better iron than the Guptas till now. So the best quality iron and the best quality copper was made by the Guptas in Bihar at a place called Sultanganj. A place called Sultanganj in Bihar. We have found a 7 feet tall standing image of the Buddha. It's made of pure copper. So the British took this idol. I'll show you the image of that copper idol of the Buddha. The British took it to England and they have kept it in the Birmingham Museum. So the best quality iron and the best quality copper belongs to the Gupta period. This is another important highlight of this period. So I'll use another page. Further, um, you see during the Gupta period, we have the epics like Ramayana, Mahabharata, then the Puranas, then Dharma Shastras, that is the law books of India, Dharma Shastras, or the Smrutis as they're called. They're also called Smrutis. Another word for Dharma Shastras are Smrutis, like Narada Smriti, Brihaspati Smriti, Manusmriti. They're all examples of law books. So Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puranas, Dharma Shastras, they were all rewritten in classical Sanskrit. So they were rewritten with all the interpolations. Now, what do you mean by interpolations? Interpolations means, understand this, when we take the Ramayana. So when you take the Ramayana, initially it had 8,000 verses, 8,000 poems. Then it became 24,000 poems. Then the number increased to many more. So that is called interpolation. Stories have been added in between, so that the size of the Ramayana became more and more. So you have so many kandas, isn't it? So many parts in the Ramayana. Similarly, Mahabharata. So in Mahabharata finally reached its final form during the Gupta period. It has totally 1 lakh verses or 1 lakh poems. So it is called Shatashahasri Samhita. Mahabharata is called Shatashahasri Samhita. That is, it has 1 lakh poems in it. So with all these interpolations, Ramayana, Mahabharata reached their final form during the Gupta period, and they were rewritten in classical Sanskrit. They were rewritten in pure Sanskrit, in classical Sanskrit. And we do not see any changes made to these scriptures after the Gupta period. So rewritten in classical Sanskrit. So whatever changes had to be made, with all those changes, interpolations, they have been rewritten in classical Sanskrit during the Gupta period, including the Puranas, Dharma Shastras, or Smritis. Further, we have Bhagavatism. Understand this. Bhagavatism. What is Bhagavatism? Yesterday's class, you remember, that is the worship of Krishna. Bhagavatism merged into Vaishnavism during the Gupta period. And Krishna became an avatar of Vishnu. In fact, Krishna is the 8th avatar of Vishnu. So, the Guptas were Vishnu worshippers. Varaha was their symbol. Varaha means the boar incarnation of Vishnu. We'll come to that. So, Bhagavatism was completely absorbed by Vaishnavism, and Krishna became only one of the avatars of Vishnu. We have 10 avatars of Vishnu: Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, Vamana, Parashurama, Rama, Krishna. Krishna is the 8th avatar, Buddha, 9th avatar, and Kalki, 10th avatar. So Krishna became one of the avatars of Vishnu. And this happened during the Gupta period. Right. Then Buddhism became a world religion during the Gupta period. Buddhism became a world religion. What do you mean by world religion? See, Buddhism was born in India. But then during the Gupta period, we have a number of Buddhist monks. We have a number of Buddhist monks like Bodhidharma, Paramartha, Buddha Yashas, Dharma Yashas, etc. These Buddhist monks from India went to China to propagate Buddhism, particularly Mahayana Buddhism. And from China, Buddhism spread to Vietnam, Cambodia, and then to the Far East, like Korea, Japan, etc. So Buddhism, particularly Mahayana Buddhism, became a world religion during this period, right? Then we have also the some of the caves at Ajanta belong to the Gupta period. So some of the caves at Ajanta, some of them belong to the Gupta period. Some Ajanta caves belong to the Gupta period. There are 29 caves in Ajanta, out of which 4 are Chaityas. We'll come to these when I do detail, in a detailed manner. When we do art and architecture, we'll talk about it. So 29 caves are there at Ajanta. Some books say 30 caves are there, out of which 4 are Chaityas, that is Buddhist prayer halls, and 25 are Viharas, that is monasteries. So some of the caves in Ajanta belong to the Gupta period. So these are the highlights of the Gupta period. Okay, and of course we have the Sarnath school of Buddhist art. So here you see one more thing, some more points are there. One more thing is we have um, 2 major divisions in the Hindu religion. So during this period, all the major sects in Hinduism either joined Vaishnavism or Shaivism. So within Hinduism, we have 2 major sects which came into existence during the Gupta period. So all the chota mota sects, all the sects either joined Shaivism or Vaishnavism. So that Hinduism got divided into 2 major sects, Shaivism and Vaishnavism. Right? And of course, we have the Sarnath school of Buddhist art, which belongs to the Gupta period. Sarnath school of Buddhist art. Sarnath school of Buddhist art belongs to the Gupta period. So they not only promoted Buddhist art, but also Hindu art. That is Hindu art and architecture. Wherein both Shiva and Vishnu temples came to be built by the Gupta rulers. Both Shiva and Vishnu temples, apart from Buddhist monuments like stupas, viharas, etc., came to be constructed. These are the highlights of the Gupta period. Did you understand? Hello? 10th point is some caves at Ajanta belong to the Gupta period. There are 29 caves at Ajanta, out of which 4 are Chaityas and 25 are Viharas. So some caves at Ajanta were scooped out, were dug up or hewn out during the Gupta period. Vijnesh. Shaivism, Lakima, Shaivism is the worship of Shiva, not Shainism, it is Shaivism. Shaivism, worship of Shiva. These are the highlights of the Gupta period. Did you understand? These are the highlights. What are viharas? Viharas are monasteries. They are again caves. Understand this? Rajesh, viharas are caves where monks used to stay. It is like their house. Basically, it is found inside a cave. And these caves were artificially scooped out or dug up and donated to the monks by various kings and merchant guilds. So when I do art and architecture, we will discuss about all these things in detail. Stupa, viharas, chaitya, what are the different parts of a chaitya, what are the different parts of a stupa, what is the symbolic significance of a stupa, right? How does a vihara look like? An important, the progress of rock cut architecture in India. So I'll give you a timeline. All those details I'll do it when I do art and architecture. Are you there with me? Megha, is it in this period first linga was worshipped? Am I right? Not necessarily, Megha. The oldest Shiva linga in India, according to the Archaeological Survey of India, not according to me, but according to the Archaeological Survey of India, is found in the village of Godimellam in Renigunta, Andhra Pradesh, dated 56 AD. So it belongs to the 56 AD, right? So the first century AD, 56 AD. This is the oldest Shiva linga according to the Archaeological Survey of India. So when we will come there, just hold on. I have no idea about this, Ankush. I have no idea about that. Whatever story you have given me. Yeah, Naikar. We'll come to that. When I do Buddhism, I'll tell you that. Okay, I'll talk about it. Just hold on. Buddha was made an avatar of Vishnu, so he is the ninth avatar of Vishnu. Though Buddha never believed in God, he never spoke about God as such. But then there was a particular purpose as to why Buddha was reduced to one of the avatars of Vishnu. We'll come to that later. Mehtab, I have already answered this question why BC is backward and AD is forward. We'll come to that. Just hold on. Are you there with me? Right? Are you there with me? So these are the highlights of the Gupta period. So whatever UPSC had asked a question last year, if you write this, that is your answer. If you write this, okay, keeping the word limit into consideration, because this question was this was part of a question. They also asked about contribution of the Cholas towards enhancement of culture and heritage of India. So they have asked Chola and Gupta. So Guptas I have just now given you. Now let's come back. So remember whatever I've just now told. So Guptas 275 to 550 AD. So let us discuss this PPT here and also the political history of the Guptas. So as I told you, the Guptas succeeded the Kushanas. Understand this? The Guptas, on the ruins of the Kushanas, we have the Guptas coming to power in North India. So after the Kushana Empire decline, Kushana's decline, we have the Guptas coming to power and they brought most parts of North India under their control. They brought North India under their control. Right? Initially, they served as the feudatories of the Kushanas. They served as feudatories. We don't know under whom they were feudatories, but presumably they were feudatories or samantas of the Kushanas. They initially ruled from Prayag. The early capital of the Guptas was Prayag. Later, they shifted the capital to Pataliputra. That is your Patna, modern day Patna. So initial capital was Prayaga and later capital was Pataliputra. They probably were the feudatories of the Kushanas. So early history of the Guptas is shrouded in mystery. We don't know much about the early history of the Guptas. We have a number of sources for the study of the Guptas. We have literary sources. Understand this. What are the sources for the study of the Guptas? We have literary sources. We'll discuss the literary sources. Just hold on. Then literary sources are there. Then we have archaeological sources. Archaeological sources are there for the study of the Guptas. Archaeological sources, particularly inscriptions. Now, archaeological sources, we have two types. We have inscriptions. Understand this? We have inscriptions. And then of course, we have Dana Shasanas. Basically, archaeological sources are inscriptions. So let me just erase this, just hold on. So when we talk about archaeological sources, basically, I'm referring to inscriptions. And inscriptions are of two kinds, are of two types. One is prashastis. Understand this? Prashastis. Or in English, eulogy. What is prashasti or eulogy? Prashasti means which only praises the king. For example, Allahabad Prashasti of Samudragupta. So Allahabad Prashasti of Samudragupta. So Prashasti means it is only praising the king. In English, it is called eulogy. So inscriptions are in the form of prashastis and dana shasanas. Understand this. Dana shasanas. I think I'll use a separate page for this. I'm sorry for that. Just hold on. So we have literary sources. Number one. Then we have archaeological sources. archaeological sources, and as part of archaeological sources, the most important are the inscriptions. The most important are the inscriptions, and these are divided into two kinds. One is the prashastis, also called eulogy in English, eulogy, and then dana shasanas. Dana shasanas. What are dana shasanas? They are land charters. Understand this. They are land charters. Let me give you an example for you to make to make you understand. Dana shasanas. Let us say there's a king. Okay, let's say there's a king called A, Gupta king called A, and he has rewarded a person called B by giving him some land or village. So let's say the king has granted this person called B um, 200 villages. He has given him 200 villages as a gift. Now, this has been recorded on a stone slab or on a copper plate. So that's called Dana Shasana. So this is a copper plate. Let's say this is a copper plate. So the king gets it written, stating that such and such a king has granted or gifted 200 villages to such and such a person on such and such a date or on such and such a time for this purpose, for a particular purpose. So that has been mentioned here. These are called Dana Shasanas. Did you understand what's a Dana Shasana? Yeah, literary sources are related to literature of that time. You're right, Mehta. Literary sources are related to literature of that time. So various books written during the Gupta period and also even after the Gupta period, not necessarily during the Gupta period, mostly written during the Gupta period, but then even books written after the Gupta period. And even if they have been written after the Gupta period, they give us a lot of information about the Guptas. Okay. So literary sources are there, archaeological sources are there, which are basically inscriptions divided to prashastis and dhanashasanas. And number three, we have numismatics. Understand this. What is numismatics? Coins. So we have numismatic sources for the study of the Guptas, coins. And the Guptas issued um, the maximum number of gold coins in ancient India. Apart from gold coins, they also issued silver and copper coins. So gold, silver, and copper coins. They also give us a lot of information about the Guptas. Okay. So apart from literary sources, archaeological sources, coins, or numismatics, we also have the accounts of Fahian. Understand this? We have the accounts of Fahian. So he was the first Chinese traveler to come to India. Understand this? He was the first Chinese traveler to come to India. What was the purpose as to why he came to India? To visit the land of the Buddha. This was the place, this is the country where the Lord Buddha was born. Those days there was no Nepal. Nepal was also part of India. It was on the periphery of India. No? So this is the country where Lord Buddha was born. So he wanted to visit the holy place of the birth of the Buddha. At the same time, collect Buddhist manuscripts, collect Buddhist books. So he came all the way from China. He came in a group and he stayed in India for about 14 years. He learned Sanskrit. He traveled extensively all over major parts of North India, North and Central India. And then he took the sea route to China. How did he go back to China? He came by the land route, and then he went back to China by the sea route. I'll come to that. And Fahian also talks about untouchability. He was not interested in the political life of India at that point in time, but he mentions about the practice of untouchability, the socio-economic, educational disabilities imposed upon the untouchable classes. So he speaks about all that thing. And so Fahian's accounts, the book written by Fahian, also give us a lot of information about the Guptas. He writes a book called Fu Koki. And in that book called Fu Koki, we get to know a lot of information about the Guptas. Right. So these are various sources for the study of the Guptas. So we'll come back here. So let us look at the chart here on your screen. On your screen, So let us discuss the sources, literary sources first of all. No audio? Aditya, you don't have audio? What about others? You're not able to hear me? Maybe you have to refresh it, audio, Aditya. Please refresh your page. Others are not having any problem, Aditya. Okay, now we'll come back here. Okay, Kamandakas Nitisara. Okay, so Kamandakas Nitisara, it talks about Gupta administration. So I have given you a chart on your screen. Please remember the names. Name of the author, Kamandaka. He writes a book called Nitisara and it talks about Gupta administration. Understand this? The Nitisara can be considered as the Gupta equivalent of Kautilya's Arthashastra. The Arthashastra of Kautilya was a guidebook for the Mauryan kings. The Arthashastra of Kautilya was a guidebook for the Mauryan kings. Whereas the Niti Shastra, just hold on. Right. So here the Niti Sara was a guidebook for the Gupta kings. The Niti Sara was like a guidebook. For the Gupta kings. Did you understand? So we can consider the Niti Sara as the Gupta equivalent of Kautilya's Arthashastra. Please write down. Niti Sara of Kamandaka can be considered as the Gupta equivalent of Kautilya's Arthashastra. So just as the Arthashastra was a guidebook for the Mauryan emperors, the Niti Sara was a guidebook for the Gupta kings. Clear? Then we come to another book, Vajjika's Kaumudi Mahotsava. So Vajjika is author of this book called Kaumudi Mahotsava. All this is written in Sanskrit language. Mind you, this was the golden age of Sanskrit literature. So Vajjika writes this book called Kaumudi Mahotsava. This talks about the coronation of one of the Gupta kings, Chandragupta the First. The coronation. So that is, it talks about the coronation of Chandragupta the First. That is the the day he was coronated as king. Then we have another book called Mrichakatika. Mrichakatika. Mrichakatika, the little clay card. In English, it is called the little clay card. The little clay card. Little clay card. In English, the Mrichakatika, written by Shudraka. So Shudraka is the author of this book. And what is the gist of this story? Here you have a pious Brahmin called Charudatta. Charudatta is a pious Brahmin, innocent pious Brahmin. He falls in love with a courtesan, a Devadasi, a prostitute by name Vasanta Sena. So he falls in love with this prostitute or courtesan, and this is the gist of the story. Basically, it gives information about the Gupta society. This book, Mrichakatika, gives information about the Gupta society. Then Vishakadatta's Devi Chandraguptam. So Vishakadatta wrote another book called Mudra Rakshasa. When I did Mauryan period, you remember Vishakadatta's Mudra Rakshasa, the minister's signet ring. And I told you the story also of the Mudra Rakshasa. What is the gist of the story? Right? So here it talks about the Mauryan revolution, that book written by Vishakadatta. The same author writes another book, that is Devi Chandraguptam. I'll tell you the story of Devi Chandraguptam later when I come to that particular part of the story of Guptas. That is how Chandragupta the second came to power. How Chandragupta the second came to power. And he marries his sister-in-law, Dhruva Devi. So Chandragupta II marries his sister-in-law and then comes to power. So that story is there in this book called Devi Chandraguptam. Then Somadeva's Katha Sarita Sagara. Somadeva's Katha Sarita Sagara. Katha Sarit Sagara. It talks about the spread of Indian culture to Southeast Asian countries. Spread of Indian culture to across the Bay of Bengal to Southeast Asian countries. Puranas. They are Brahminical sources. They give genealogy of the Guptas. Genealogy is what? The family tree. The family tree of the Guptas. Who was the founder, the important kings, first king, second king, third king, etc. The genealogy of the Guptas is given in that particular book called the Puranas. Books called the Puranas. There are 18 Puranas. So some of the Puranas give information about the genealogy of the Guptas. These are the important literary sources for the study of the Guptas. Are you there with me, all of you? Are you clear? Are you there with me? Okay, so before I forget, I have to make an announcement. That is, tomorrow there is a holiday because of Labor Day. Tomorrow, May 1st, Labor Day. Therefore, there will be no class. So we'll be continuing the schedule. We'll be continuing the classes as per schedule from May 2nd. So tomorrow there's a holiday. It's a holiday. Okay, so keep that in mind. Tomorrow it's a holiday. So we'll come back here. Then we have Fahian, the first Chinese traveler to come to India. Fahian. So you see here on your screen, there's a picture I have put. This is how Fahian looked like. So this is Fahian for you. And this is the route taken by him. So I have put a map to the right of your screen, and you can see the route taken by him. So he was from a place called Chang'an in China. And he traveled extensively. The Gobi Desert, the Taklamakan Desert. Then he enters India through the northwest portions. He was in India for about 14 years, as I told you. He came to visit the land of the Buddha to collect Buddhist manuscripts. He was not interested in politics. Then after he finished his job, he collected quite a lot of books, and then he had to go back to China. How did he go back? He comes to Tamluk, no, Bengal. He comes to Tamluk in Bengal. Then he takes a ship to Sri Lanka. So he goes to Sri Lanka, and from Sri Lanka he comes to Indonesia, Java, then Malaya, that is Malaysia, and then goes back to China like this. So he came by the land route and went back by the sea route to China. And for the rest of his life, he translated those Sanskrit books into Chinese language. Fahian. So he was in India between 399 and 414 AD. He came to the reign of Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya. So the Gupta king was Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya, though Fahian doesn't mention the name of the king. He doesn't mention the name of the king, the Gupta king. So he was the first foreigner, as I told you, to talk about untouchability. He talks about the various restrictions imposed upon the untouchable classes, the socio-economic, educational restrictions imposed upon them. So I've given you a small note on Fahian. So he came to India by the land route and returned by the sea route via Ceylon, Sri Lanka, Java, Malaysia. He visited all these cities: Peshawar, Mathura, Kanauj, Kapilavastu, Shravasti, Bodh Gaya. So all the holy places connected with Buddha he visited, and then he went back to China, and he calls the Gangetic Valley as the land of Brahmanism. So he says the Vedic religion or Brahmanism was flourishing in the Gangetic Valley. So please go through this note on Fahian. Then we come to, so yeah, he had his backpack, Varsha, something like a backpack that also probably had an umbrella, sort of an umbrella for him to get protection. So from foreigners probably were treated. It's not that the foreigners were coming to India for the first time, Somo, isn't it? Even in the post-Maurya period, we have a number of foreigners coming to India. Many of them married Indian women, settled down in this country. So he was from China. The only exception is that the only difference is that he was a person from China. So the fact that he was able to travel extensively all over India to more major parts of India, wherever it was sacred to the Buddhists. He visited all those places. From that, we come to know that he had unhindered. He was able to travel without any hindrance, and probably he got a lot of encouragement from others. Okay, we'll come back here. Gunjan is asking, who is the first foreign traveler to come to India? Okay, Gunjan, who knows? Who knew? Who knows? So a lot of foreigners came. Even the Aryans are supposed to have come from outside India. Gunjan, isn't it? Aryans were supposed to be from outside India. During the Harappan period, also a lot of foreigners would have come to India because they had trade with Bahrain, Mesopotamia. So therefore, it's difficult to answer that question. Fahian was the first Chinese traveler to come to India. First documented Chinese traveler. Okay, we'll come back here. Inscriptions. Now let us talk about inscriptions. They also give us a lot of information about the Guptas. So there are 42 inscriptions divided into Prashastis and Dana Shasanas. Prashastis are what? Eulogy. They only praise the king. They only praise the king. And then Dana Shasanas are land charters. So let us look at the important inscriptions of the Guptas. First of all, Samudragupta's inscriptions. What are the important inscriptions of Samudragupta? These inscriptions give information about Samudragupta. So first of all, on your screen, you can see the Allahabad Prashasti. The Allahabad Prashasti. So I'll use my therma flask again. You remember, I had told you this story when I did Mauryas. There was an Ashokan pillar at Kaushambi. So this in UP, in Uttar Pradesh, a place called Kaushambi. There was an Ashokan pillar, and Ashoka had installed this pillar, and he had written some message meant for the subjects there, meant for his people there. Later, this particular pillar, so it was standing at Kaushambi, and then there was some gap here, some space here. Now, the greatest of the Gupta kings was Samudragupta. The greatest of the Gupta kings was Samudragupta, and he had a minister called Harisena. Understand this? So we have a minister called Harisena. Harisena was the minister under Samudragupta. Samudra is considered to be the greatest of the Gupta kings, and his minister called Harisena wanted to showcase or highlight the military achievements of Samudragupta. Samudragupta is supposed to have conquered almost the whole of India. We'll talk about the political history of the Guptas in some time. So Harisena wanted to tell the people of the world how great a conqueror his master Samudragupta was. So what did he do? He conveniently used this Ashokan pillar to inscribe the military achievements of his master Samudragupta. So basically, this was an Ashokan pillar standing at Kaushambi. Some space was there on this Ashokan pillar, and he conveniently filled up that space by mentioning the military achievements of Samudragupta. Later, as I told you, this pillar was shifted from Kaushambi to Allahabad by Jahangir. That is the son of Akbar. And Jahangir also got something written on this pillar. So this is called the Allahabad Prashasti. Basically, it is an Ashokan pillar which originally stood at Kaushambi. Do you remember? Yeah. So here, written on an Ashokan pillar found in Allahabad by Harisena. So Harisena was a very senior minister in the court of Samudragupta. He was Mahadandanayaka, that is Chief Justice. He was the Chief Justice, Mahadandanayaka. So he held the position of Chief Justice, and also Sandhi Vigrahaka, that is Minister of War and Peace, that is Foreign Affairs Minister. He was the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Sandhi Vigrahaka. So here he gives in this Allahabad Prashasti, he gives us the military achievements of Samudragupta. What are the various areas conquered by Samudragupta? This is number one. So this is a Prashasti. Prashasti, as I told you, means it only praises the king. It has been found in UP. Then Iran Prashasti. Mind the spelling here. Iran, E-R-A-N. Iran Prashasti, found in Madhya Pradesh. Again, it talks about the military achievements of Samudragupta, the conquest of Samudragupta. Then the Nalanda copper plate inscription found in Bihar. Nalanda copper plate inscription. So this has been found on a copper plate. Nalanda copper plate inscription. Now, what does it say? This is a land charter, basically. Here, you see, in this copper plate inscription, we are told that Samudragupta gifted a village to a Brahmin. Understand this? Samudragupta gifted a village to a Brahmana. And for some reason, he must have been very happy with this Brahmana. He might have, that Brahmin might have impressed Samudragupta. So Samudragupta gifted a village to him. And in this inscription, we have the first usage of the word Agrahara. What's Agrahara? Agrahara is a settlement of Brahmins, where only Brahmins used to stay. So in the Nalanda copper plate inscription of Samudragupta, we have the first reference to the word Agrahara. Agrahara. So the word Agrahara appears for the first time. As I told you yesterday's class, if you remember, it was the Shatavahana kings who were the first to make tax-free land grants to Brahmanas and Buddhist monks. But they never used the word Agrahara in those tax-free land grants. For the first time, we find the word Agrahara mentioned in the Nalanda copper plate inscription of Samudragupta. Did you understand? Can you raise your hands? Clear? Please raise your hands if you have understood. Thank you. Clear. Now we move on. So the word Agrahara appears there. Then the Gaya copper plate inscription found in Bihar, Gaya, or both the Gaya as it is called now, Gaya copper plate inscription. So here from this copper plate inscription, we come to know that Samudragupta granted a village to a vihara. Understand this? What's a vihara? A vihara is a monastery. Vihara is a monastery. A monastery where monks used to stay. Either it could have been Buddhist monks staying there in the vihara or Jain monks. So basically in this context, it is a vihara meant for the Buddhist monks. So I believe this vihara, so here Samudragupta granted a village to a Buddhist vihara. And this vihara was constructed by the king of Sri Lanka, Mahameghavarman. Mahameghavarma granted, built this vihara at Gaya. And for the maintenance of that vihara, a village was gifted by Samudragupta. Did you understand? Hello. Zainab. Okay, very good. Now, this is the second but last chapter, Megha. See, I would have finished ancient India a long time back because we did not have class for 1 week. You remember, we had some technical issues. Then again, I had some medical problems at home, so I could not have class for. We could not have class for 5 days. So we lost 5 days. So therefore, that is the reason why I have not yet completed ancient India. So today I should finish ancient India, and tomorrow we can start medieval. Tomorrow means day after tomorrow. Tomorrow is a holiday, right? So we'll come back here. So here, please understand. This vihara was constructed by the king of Sri Lanka, Mahameghavarma. Why did he build a vihara at Gaya? Because many pilgrims from Sri Lanka will visit India, including Gaya. Gaya is holy. Why is Gaya holy? Bodh Gaya? Because that is where the Lord Buddha attained his nirvana, enlightenment. So obviously, it's a holy place for the Buddhist devotees. So from Sri Lanka also, a number of people will come to visit Gaya. Those days, as you can understand, there were no hotels or lodges for people to stay, for travelers to stay. So the king of Sri Lanka built a vihara at Gaya so that people from his country, when they visit Gaya, they can stay there. But having come all the way from Sri Lanka, they will require some basic amenities, food, clothing, shelter, etc., water, etc., to stay comfortably in Gaya. So he requested Samudragupta, please grant a village for the maintenance of that vihara. So whatever is grown in that village, food, water, whatever is available in that village, food, water, and other essentials will be supplied from that village towards the maintenance of that vihara. And upon the request of the Sri Lankan king, Samudragupta granted that village. Did you understand? Clear? Did you understand? What was the reason? What was the purpose as to why a village was gifted by Samudragupta to that vihara? Okay, great. You throw a mail, Aditya, whatever is your query, please write a mail. I'll not be able to, I can only, you can also mail me, keep me in CC. I can forward it to the concerned people. Okay, so that's what I can do. So these are the important inscriptions of Samudragupta. Then, you see, this is the Allahabad pillar, Prayagraj, as it is called now. Name has been changed to Prayagraj. Okay. Then we have Mehroli pillar inscription of Chandragupta. You can see here on your screen, this is the Mehroli inscription of Chandragupta II. So in the Qutub Minar complex at Delhi, at a place called Mehroli. So Mehroli in Delhi. Mehroli. We have this iron pillar. This iron pillar is about 23 feet tall. So it is 23 feet tall. You can see here 23 feet tall and 6 tons in weight. That is, it is 6,000 kgs. 6 tons or 6,000 kgs. And on top of this iron pillar, there is a name of a king called Chanda. So there's a king's name mentioned called Chanda. And historians believe that this Chanda to be Chandragupta II Vikramaditya. They believe that Chanda is none other than Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya, who took the title of Vikramaditya. And even after 1600 years, more than 1600 years, since this pillar was installed, we don't see a trace of rust on it, not even a trace of rust on it. So the best quality iron was made by the Guptas. This is made of pure wrought iron, 99.7% iron, very low sulfur, very high phosphorus content. And we have an inscription again on this iron pillar. Understand this? We have an inscription on this iron pillar, and it says that Delhi was founded by Anangpal Tomar. He was the one, Anangpal Tomar. You have the Tomara dynasty, which ruled Delhi. So from the 7th century AD onwards till about the 11th century, you have the Tomaras ruling. So actually 8th century. From the 8th century, from 800 AD till about 11th century AD, we have the Tomaras ruling Delhi. So we have this king called Anangpal Tomar who founded the city of Delhi. So Delhi was those days called Dhillikapuram, which later became Delhi, Dhillikapuram. And Dhillikapuram again was constructed on the ancient site of Indraprastha. So during the Mahabharata time, it was called Indraprastha. So on the ancient site of Indraprastha, Dhillikapuram was constructed, and later it became known as Delhi. So that's what the 11th century inscription issued by Anangpal Tomar tells us. Yeah, there was a Chandragupta the first. Lakhima, hold on. I will discuss the political history in some time. Okay. No, Bhimara is asking why Mauryas and Guptas were obsessed with pillars. So here we have Mauryas borrowed the idea of installing pillars from the Persians. We have seen that Bhimara. And Ashoka, he got pillars installed for a particular purpose. He wanted to convey his message to the people, or in some cases to his officers. So that's why we find Ashokan pillars in the length and breadth of the country. So, isn't it? So he wanted his message to reach the maximum number of people. So he got them inscribed on rocks, pillars, and caves. So that answers the first part of the question. About Guptas also, Guptas also installed pillars. It could be stone pillars or iron pillar. Like for example, at Mehrole, it's an iron pillar. So here it could be, a Jayasthamba also. It could have been a victory pillar. So in order to commemorate a victory, they might have installed pillars. Right? Unlike the Mauryas, unlike Ashoka, who wanted to convey message to the people, this is probably to commemorate an event. It could be a victory, and that's why they have installed pillars, the Guptas, right? And many other dynasties also installed pillars. The tradition begun by the Mauryas was copied by many dynasties, including the Guptas. Okay. Now, there is a story, understand this, there is a story around this pillar. There's a story around this pillar as to how the name Delhi came about. So around this pillar, there is a story, and I need to tell you the story to make you understand as to how the name Delhi has come about. Delhi is our capital of India. So therefore, let us understand uh, how the name Delhi came about. And there is a story surrounding this pillar. So let me tell you the story now. Are you there with me? So here, when Anangpal Tomar, I believe, when he was ruling Delhi. So when Anangpal Tomar belonged to the Tomara dynasty, when he was ruling Delhi, a Brahmin came to him, I believe. A Brahmana, some Brahmin came walking to his court and told Anangpal Tomar that this pillar, you see this Ashokan pillar, this iron pillar, I'm sorry, not Ashokan pillar, iron pillar of uh, you know, of the Gupta period. So he says that this iron pillar, iron pillar, is resting on the head of the serpent king Vasuki. So the king of the serpents is Vasuki. So imagine this is the serpent king. Okay, this is a serpent. Excuse my drawing here. This is the serpent king Vasuki. Okay, imagine there's a serpent. Okay, and what was the name of the serpent king? Vasuki. King of the serpents. King of the serpents. So this Brahmin came and told Anandpal Tumar that this pillar, iron pillar, is resting on the head of the serpent king Vasuki. And he told Anandpal Tumar, you will rule till this pillar is erect. Till this pillar is erect, you will rule. So he said this and walked away. So Anandpal Tumar got very scared, I believe. What if the snake shakes its head? If the snake shakes its head, right, the pillar will fall down and then I will die. That will be the end of my rule. So therefore, he was very, very scared. He wanted to confirm. He wanted to confirm whether what the Brahmin had told him is true or not. So I believe, serpent is a snake. Zainab, you're asking me what is a serpent? Serpent is a snake. Don't you understand? Another word for a snake is a serpent. Okay, we'll come back here. Where was I? Okay, so here, Anandpal Tumar wanted to confirm whether what this Brahmin had narrated is true or not. So he ordered the workers to dig the earth around the pillar. You see here? So the iron pillar was standing intact, and the Brahmin told him that iron pillar is standing on the head of the serpent king Vasuki. Until the pillar is erect, you will rule. So the king Anandpal Tumar got worked up. So he ordered his workers to dig the earth around the pillar. So the workers began to frantically dig the earth around the iron pillar. When they dug a few feet below the ground, they saw some blood, I believe. God knows where the blood came from, but they saw some blood. And the workers panicked. They thought while digging the earth, they thought they must have struck the head of the serpent king Vasuki. So they got scared because they thought or presumed that they must have hurt the head of the serpent king Vasuki. And that's where the blood comes from. So therefore, they began to close the pit. So they had dug a pit around the iron pillar. So they began to close the pit. Now, till now, the pillar was erect. It was pretty standing erect. But once the pit was dug up and then closed, the pillar became a little dheeli. The pillar became a little loose or dheeli. And from the word Dili has arisen the name Delhi. This is the story. Did you get me? How the name Delhi has come about? So this is how the name Delhi has come about. Now, this is found in one of the books written by a professor of history. She is none other than Upinder Singh. Upinder Singh is the daughter of the former Prime Minister of India, Dr. Manmohan Singh, and she's a professor of history in the Jawaharlal Nehru University. So she's written a book called Ancient and Early Medieval Indian History. In that book, this story is there. Do you understand? So just in case in the interview they ask you, UPSC interview, they will ask you such questions in case. And if you narrate the story, they'll be very, very pleased, definitely pleased. Okay, this is how the name Delhi has come about. Okay, well, this is about, um, um, right? This is then we look at other inscriptions. Skandagupta's inscriptions of Skandagupta. We have two inscriptions. One is Junagadh inscription. So in the Junagadh inscription, it tells us that Skandagupta's governor by name Chakrapalita got the Sudarshana lake repaired. So Chakrapalita got the Sudarshana lake repaired. So this is a Prashasti again praising Skandagupta, right? And then of course the Bitari inscription found in Madhya Pradesh. It talks about his wars with the Hunas. It talks about his wars with the Hunas. Hunas were Central Asian tribes, or Huns as they were called. One of the reasons for the decline of the Gupta Empire is that the repeated attacks of the Huns. I'll come to that in some time. Just hold on. So it was Skandagupta who defeated the Hunas, and that is mentioned in the Bitari inscription. It talks about his wars with the Hunas. So this is the inscriptions of Skandagupta. Then we have the Pune copper plate inscription of Prabhavati Gupta. So Pune copper plate inscription found in Pune, belonging to the period of Prabhavati Gupta. Prabhavati Gupta was one of the daughters of Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya. And it talks about the land survey system, the various methods through which land was surveyed and measured, etc. So it gives information about the Gupta land survey system. It was issued by Prabhavati Gupta, daughter of Chandragupta II. Then the Iran inscription of Bhanu Gupta, dated 510 AD. Iran in Madhya Pradesh, Eran, Iran. It is the first inscriptional evidence of the practice of sati. This is the first inscription to mention about the practice of sati. Iran inscription of Bhanu Gupta. Clear? Iran inscription of Bhanu Gupta. First inscriptional evidence of the practice of sati. Further, we have the Mandsaur inscription of Yashovarman. Mandsaur in Madhya Pradesh. So it was issued by Yashovarman, and he says that he defeated the Guptas. The Mandsaur inscription of Yashovarman says that he defeated the Guptas. The inscription is dated 532 AD. Then we have numismatic sources. Numismatics is coins. So the maximum number of gold coins were issued by the Gupta kings. They are called dinaras. And silver coins are called rupayas. Now please understand this here, please. Maximum gold coins. Maximum number of gold coins were issued by the Guptas. You all know that. But please understand, the Gupta gold coins imitated the Kushana gold coins. Kushanas also issued gold coins. And Kushana gold coins are called denarius. Understand this. They are called denarius. And these gold coins issued by the Kushanas imitate the Roman gold coins. They imitate or copy the Roman gold coins. And the Gupta gold coins copy the Kushana gold coins. The Gupta gold coins copy the Kushana gold coins. So by default, indirectly also the Gupta gold coins imitate the Roman gold coins. Did you understand? Indirectly, the Gupta gold coins also imitate the Roman gold coins. So as I repeat, Kushana gold coins imitate the Roman gold coins. And since the Guptas copied their gold coins on the lines of the Kushanas, indirectly they also imitate the Roman gold coins. Did you understand? So Gupta gold coins are called dinars. If you have understood, can you raise your hand? Please raise your hand if you have understood. You want me to repeat? Yeah, Ankush. No. Okay, great. So they indirectly imitate the Kushana gold coins, the Gupta gold coins. And therefore, they indirectly imitate the Roman gold coins because they have copied the Kushana gold coins. Now look here. Fayan, the Chinese traveler, tells us that common people used cowries, that is seashells, as medium of exchange. Cowries are seashells. Seashells were used by the common people, which means to say that higher denomination coins like gold and silver were not handled by the common people. Common people like you and me used to use cowries or seashells as the medium of exchange. They were not using gold and silver coins. Okay. Now, let us look at some of the important coins of the Guptas. We have the Chandragupta Kumara Devi type of gold coins issued by their son Samudragupta. Understand this. On a gold coin, you can see the picture here on your screen. You can see this. This is called Chandragupta Kumara Devi type of gold coins. So here, the first important Gupta king is Chandragupta the first. Understand this. First important Gupta king is Chandragupta the first. And this king, Chandragupta the first, married a Lichavi princess. Lichavis were a tribe, they were a Kshatriya tribe, Lichavis, ruling the Nepal area. Lichavi. So he married a Lichavi princess by name Kumara Devi. Kumara Devi. So Chandragupta the first married Kumara Devi, a Kshatriya princess. And the child, the son born to this couple, was none other than Samudragupta. Was none other than Samudragupta. Samudra. And Samudragupta, when he became the king, he wanted to highlight the marriage of his parents. So what did he do? He got the picture of his father and mother embossed on the coin, or minted on the coin, or embossed on the coin. Okay, you can see here, this is Kumara Devi, his mother, Samudragupta's mother. You can see she's wearing a blouse. So from that we come to know that she is a female. And this is Chandragupta the first. So this is called Chandragupta Kumara Devi type of coin, gold coin, issued by their son Samudragupta. Hello, are you there with me? So Queen Kumara Devi and King Chandragupta appear on the coins minted by their son Samudragupta. So this is called Chandragupta Kumara Devi type of coin. However, please understand, it was a very rare thing to display or depict royal women on coins. Portrait of royal women, displaying portrait of royal women was an uncommon thing. So this is called Chandragupta Kumara Devi type of coin. Sakshi, I have no idea what has been written on it. Okay, so don't bother about it. This is called Chandragupta Kumara Devi type of gold coin. Then we have Samudragupta issuing many types of gold coins. He issued 8 types of gold coins. Samudragupta issued 8 types of gold coins. Now look here. A coin has 2 sides. As you all know, coin has 2 sides. We have what is called obverse side of a coin, and we have the reverse side of a coin. Obverse and reverse. So coin has 2 sides, obverse and reverse. Now, when you look at the coins of Samudragupta, what we notice is he is shown doing something. For example, he is playing the lute. In one coin, he's shown playing the lute. Lute is a veena-like instrument. A veena-like instrument. Okay, so on a coin, he's shown playing the lute or a veena-like instrument. And on the other side of the coin, we have the corresponding title of Samudragupta, Kaviraja. I'll show you the coin. You see this. This is on your screen. You see Samudragupta on the left of your screen. You can see here. He is shown playing the lute, a veena-like instrument. And on the other side of the coin, we have his title, Kaviraja. Did you get me? Kaviraja. Corresponding title, Kaviraja. Then on one of his coins, we see him performing the Ashwamedha sacrifice. So Samudragupta was a great warrior. So after having defeated all the kings of India, he performed a horse sacrifice or Ashwamedha sacrifice. So on one side of his coin, we see him performing the Ashwamedha sacrifice. And the corresponding title on the other side of the same coin, we see this Ashwamedha Parakrama. Ashwamedha Parakrama. So that is the corresponding title of his. Another coin, we see him hunting a tiger. Hunting a tiger. And tiger in Sanskrit is called Vyagra. Vyagra Parakrama. Vyagra Parakrama. Vyagra means in Sanskrit, tiger. Vyagra Parakrama. Parakrama is valor. Somebody who was daring enough to hunt a tiger. Then another coin, we see him holding a battle axe. Like Parashurama, the sixth avatar of Vishnu, Parashuram, he has a battle axe. So he is shown holding a battle axe. And the corresponding title, Kritanta Parasu. Kritanta Parasu. So these are the various types of coins issued by Samudragupta. Did you understand? So Samudragupta issued maximum number of gold coins, 8 types of gold coins. And we see on one side of the coin, the various deeds of his and the corresponding title on the other side of the coin. You can see here I have put a picture. Samudragupta is riding a horse. So Samudragupta is shown on a coin riding a horse. So this is called gold dinar type. This is called the lyricist type, where he's playing He's shown playing the lute, a veena-like instrument. And this is the gold dinar type of coins. Ashwamedha is, he's shown performing the Ashwamedha sacrifice Chicha, and the corresponding title, Ashwamedha Parakrama, the corresponding title of his. Okay, Ashwamedha Parakrama. Okay. Then we have Chandragupta II. So he was the first Gupta king to issue silver coins. Understand this? He was the person who was the first Gupta king to issue silver coins, and his silver coins imitated the coins of the Shakas of Ujjain. You remember when I did the post-Maurya period, we have this Kardamaka branch. There were two branches of the Shakas. One is the Kardamaka branch and the other is the Kshaharata branch. Remember yesterday's class, Kardamaka branch and Kshaharata branch. Kardamaka branch of the Shakas were exterminated by Chandragupta II Vikramaditya. I'll come to the story in some time. So we have the Shakas, a branch of the Shakas ruling over present-day Malwa and Gujarat regions. They are known as the Kardamaka branch of the Shakas. Kardamaka branch of the Shakas. And who was the greatest of the Kardamaka branch of the Shakas? Who was the greatest? You remember yesterday's class? Can you answer that question of mine? Who was the greatest of the Kardamaka branch of the Shakas? Why are you taking so much of time? Ankush, where are you? Nedunjalian, Kannagi story is there in your brain. Ankush, you have not revised. Rudradaman, Lagima is right. Rudradaman. Rudradaman the first issued the first pure inscription in Chase Sanskrit. It is the first inscription in pure Sanskrit, the Rudradaman's inscription, the Junagadh rock inscription of Rudradaman, which gives us the history of the Sudarshana lake. Very good, Megha. Ankush, did you get me? Rudradaman. So he was the greatest of the Kardamaka branch of the Shakas. So here we have the Gupta king, Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya, who destroyed the Shaka king. He killed him and finished off their lineage. So that was the end of the Shaka rule in India. Now, the Shakas of Western India, the Kardamaka branch of the Shakas, used to issue silver coins. On the lines of the silver coins of the Shakas, Chandragupta II also began to mint silver coins. I'll come to that in some time. Things will become clearer when I do the political history of the Guptas. So things will become clearer. Just hold on. Okay. So here on the lines of the Shakas of Western India, he also issued silver coins. Who? Chandragupta II. So he was the first Gupta king to issue silver coins on the lines of the Shakas of Ujjain. Right? And on his silver coins, we get some titles of his. We see some titles of Chandragupta II. He assumed these titles. Simha Chandra, Narendra Simha, Simha Vikrama. These are the various titles assumed by Chandragupta II. Simha Chandra, Narendra Simha, Simha Vikrama. Then we have found 1,395 silver coins at a place called Samand in Maharashtra. These coins belong to the period of one of the Gupta kings called Kumaragupta. And on that coin, we see him performing the Ashwamedha sacrifice. And we have the corresponding title, Ashwamahendra. Ashwamahendra. Ashwa in Sanskrit is horse. As you know, Ashwa means horse. So he's shown performing the Ashwamedha sacrifice. And his title, Ashwamahendra, appear on those silver coins. We have found 1,395 silver coins of Kumaragupta at a place called Samand in Maharashtra. Okay. So far, so good. All of you clear? So far, so good. Can I move on? These are the various sources for the study of the Guptas. We have only done sources now, literary sources, inscriptional sources, prashastis, then dana shasanas, coins, then Fahiyan. Fahiyan also gives us a lot of information about Guptas. So you can see on your screen, this is the Gupta Empire. What you see in dark blue, understand this? What you see in dark blue are the conquest of Chandragupta the First. I'll write Chandragupta the First. He was the one who conquered this area. Chandragupta the First. Then these in black currant, I don't know which color this is. Is this this is black currant ice cream color? No, this one. This is the conquest of Samudragupta. Is it violet? Purple. Thank you, Chich. I'm not good at colors. Okay, light purple. Okay, so Samudragupta's conquest. And then what you see here, blue, this different shade of a blue, the sky blue color. These are the conquest of Chandragupta II. These are the conquest of Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya. Right. So, and of course, we have other dynasties ruling various parts of India. We have the Vakatakas here ruling over present-day Maharashtra region. The Kadambas ruled over Karnataka, parts of Karnataka. Pallavas over Tamil Nadu, and also the Cholas who succeeded the Pallavas. The Pandyas were also ruling the deep south. Right. So, Kalinga, of course, Orissa is here. We'll come back here. Let's talk about the political history of the Guptas. On your screen, you can see the political history of the Guptas. Let me tell you the story of the Guptas, and then we will discuss the PPTs. Can I tell you the story of the Guptas? Hello. So let me listen to the story. Then we will discuss the PPTs. Okay, Roshan, as you wish. So history in the form of a story. Now listen. Right? Founder was Sri Gupta. The founder was Sri Gupta. Founder was Sri Gupta, and he is supposed to have built Vihara, a monastery at Mriga Sikhavana. Mriga Sikhavana. This is located in present-day West Bengal. This is supposed to be located in present-day West Bengal. He built a monastery there, a vihara or a monastery meant for the monks, Buddhist monks, at a place called Mriga Sikhavana in West Bengal, present-day West Bengal. So he was the founder, Sri Gupta. Then we have the first important king, Chandragupta I. He was the first important king. And he came to power. Understand this? He came to power on February the 26th, 320 AD. So he came to power on February the 26th, 320 AD, and this is supposed to be the beginning of the Gupta era. This is the beginning of the Gupta era. Gupta era starts from here, February 26th, 320 AD. And Chandragupta I married a Lichavi princess called Kumara Devi. So please understand, the Guptas were Vaishyas. The Guptas were Vaishyas by Varna. So as you all know, there are four Varnas: the Brahmana Varna, Kshatriya or Rajanya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Isn't it? Now, the Guptas were Vaishyas, supposedly Vaishyas. And here we see Chandragupta marrying a Kshatriya princess. So he married somebody above his Varna. So that gave prestige to the Guptas, I believe. So he married this Lichavi princess called Kumara Devi. Kumara Devi. And Kumara Devi was a Kshatriya princess belonging to the Lichavi clan. So this gave prestige to the Guptas. Did you understand? It gave prestige to the Guptas. The son born to Kumara Devi and Chandragupta I was Samudragupta. The son born to this couple was Samudra. Samudragupta was a son born to Chandragupta I and Kumara Devi. Okay, right. Now, let us talk about Samudragupta. Are you clear till here, all of you? So after Chandragupta I, you have Samudragupta becoming the king. Can you raise your hand till so far so good? Let me move on. Okay, I'll open up page here. Understand this? I'll open up another page. So Sri Gupta was the founder, Sakshi. Sri Gupta was the founder. Then first important king was Chandragupta the first. Then we have Samudragupta. So let me open a page. Now Samudragupta. Now look here. Samudragupta is considered to be the greatest of the Guptas, the son of Chandragupta the first and Kumara Devi. Samudragupta. Now, what do we know about him? We know about him, first of all, through the Allahabad Prashasti. The Allahabad Prashasti. The Allahabad Prashasti talks about his military achievements. This is found on an Ashokan pillar, as you all know, and it was composed by Harisena. Harisena was a minister under Samudragupta, and he wanted to highlight the military achievements of his master. How great a conqueror his master Samudragupta was. So he got it written on an Ashokan pillar. So it's like a graffiti. You can call it as a graffiti, but then it has been written neatly. Now we'll come back here. What do we know? What do we gather from the Allahabad Prashasti? We are told by Harisena that there were 8 kings of North India. So there were 8 kings in North India at that point in time. So Samudragupta took his army and he waged war against all these 8 kings. And he killed all of them. One by one, he killed all of them and conquered their kingdoms. These are known as the Aryavarta campaigns of Samudra. Aryavarta campaigns. So 8 kings of North India were killed and their kingdoms annexed. So these are called the Aryavarta campaigns of Samudragupta. This is number 1. Okay, then we are told that there were 18 forest kingdoms in central India. In the region of Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, there were 18 forest kingdoms, Atavika Rajas. Atavika Rajas, 18 forest kingdoms. One by one, all these 18 forest kings were defeated and their kingdoms were conquered by him, and he forced them to pay tribute. He did not kill them, he forced them to pay tribute. So 18 Atavika Rajas were conquered by him and he forced them to pay tribute. What is tribute? They were supposed to send a certain amount of money to the Gupta king and to his capital every year, Pataliputra. That was the capital of the Guptas, Pataliputra. Present day, Patna. Pataliputra was the headquarters of the Gupta king. That was his capital. So 18 Atavika Rajas were defeated by Samudragupta. Then we are told by Harisena that there were some border kingdoms on the boundaries, on the borders of the empire, on the bordering areas of India. There were some kingdoms. Like, for example, he calls Kashmir as Kartipura. Kartipura. So identified with present day Kashmir. Then Dhavaka, Assam. Then Nepal, Samatata, Bengal. So these are all the equivalent names, modern names of these places. So Kashmir, Assam, Nepal, Bengal, all these areas, he defeated, he conquered all these areas and forced the kings of that area to pay tribute to him. So they had to recognize Samudragupta as their overlord and agreed to pay tribute to him. Then there were 9 Ganarajas. So he defeated the border states and forced them to pay tribute. Then there were 9 Ganarajas. 9 Ganarajas. What is Ganaraja? Republics. 9 Ganarajas or republics. So what's a republic? Where the king was elected by the people. So there were small kingdoms, obviously. The population was less and the kings were elected. So there were 9 Ganarajas. He defeated all those 9 Ganarajas like Malavas, Yodhayas, etc. And he forced them to pay tribute. Then we are told by Harisena that he comes to South India via the Orissa coast. Via Orissa, Samudragupta marched with his army to South India. And there were 12 kings of South India. During those days, there were 12 kings of South India between the Mahanadi and the Kaveri rivers. Between the Mahanadi and Kaveri rivers, there were 12 kingdoms in South India, obviously ruled by 12 kings, including Vishnugopa of Kanchipuram. So what did Samudragupta do? with these 12 kings, he defeated each one of them. He defeated each one of them, but he did not kill them. Understand this? He did not kill them. He defeated them and he gave back their kingdom on the condition that they accept the Gupta king as their overlord and pay tribute to him. So every year they were supposed to send a certain amount of money as a tribute to the Gupta emperor and also agree to accept him as their overlord. These are known as the Dakshinapatha campaigns of Samudragupta. Dakshinapatha. These are known as the Dakshinapatha campaigns of Samudragupta. So he defeated all the 12 kings of South India. Then he returned back their kingdoms on the and put them back on their thrones. He returned their kingdoms, put them back on their thrones on the condition that they pay tribute to the Gupta king and accept the Gupta king as their overlord. Now, historians have pondered, understand this, historians have pondered over the fact as to why Samudragupta followed a totally different policy with respect to South India. Why did not he kill those kings of South India? He had defeated them. He could have killed them like he had killed all the 8 kings of North India. Why didn't he kill them? He could have directly, ruled over the South after killing all those kings. So we understand here that he was a practical person. He was a practical politician. Given the limitations of transport and communication facilities which existed during those days, it would have been highly impractical, improbable, and foolish on the part of Samudragupta to have tried to rule South India directly. Right? So he followed this policy, what is known as Grahana. Understand this? This policy which he followed in South India is called Grahana Moksha Anugraha. He followed a policy of Grahana Moksha Anugraha. What is Grahana? Conquest. Grahana is conquest. Moksha, liberation. Grahana is conquest, moksha is liberation, and anugraha is a reinstatement. Conquest, liberation, reinstatement. Okay, that is called Grahana, Moksha, Anugraha. Now, historians have pondered over this. Why did he follow this policy? Was he interested in the wealth of the South? Was that the main intention of Samudragupta? Please understand, South India had a very flourishing trade via the 3 oceans. We have looked at that in the last chapter, post-Maurya period, isn't it? So there was international trade, flourishing international trade, particularly engaged in by the South via the 3 oceans, and a lot of wealth was coming to India, but in particularly also South India. And the Vindhya mountains, the Satpura and Vindhya mountains, gave a lot of safety to the people of the South from the invasions of the North, from the invasions from the Northwest. So South India was generally peaceful, and also it was having a lot of prosperity and wealth. So did he want to loot the wealth of the South? Was this the main intention of Samudragupta? And historians have pondered over this, and they say no, that was not the main reason. It could have been an incidental reason. It might have been incidental that he also took away the wealth of the South to a large extent. He carried away the wealth, but then that was not the main intention, because lot of wealth was either way flowing into North India from the Silk Route. The Silk Route, which we have discussed yesterday's class, lot of wealth was flowing into North India. So there was no dearth of money for Samudragupta that he had to loot the wealth of the South. It might have only been a secondary factor or an incidental factor as such. Then what is the main reason why he followed this policy? The main reason why he followed this policy of giving back the kingdoms to the kings of South India after having defeated them without killing them is, I believe, to promote Brahmanism. Understand this, to promote Brahmanism. That was the main reason why he followed this policy, to promote Brahmanism or the Vedic religion or what is now called Hinduism. Promote Brahmanism. How do we know this? That his main intention was to promote Brahmanism. We are told that Samudragupta appointed a class of officers in each of these 12 South Indian kingdoms. They are called Magadakulas. He appointed a class of officers called Magadakulas. So he brought these officers from his capital. They're called Magadakulas, and each of these officers were appointed in each of those 12 kingdoms of South India. And what was the duty of these officers? To see that the respective king of that kingdom promotes only Brahmanical religion or Vedic religion and not Buddhism. So Buddhism had become very, very popular in South India at that point in time, and Samudragupta did not want Buddhism to become more popular than the Vedic religion or the Brahmanical religion. So he saw to it that as a policy, the kings of South India only promote Brahmanism and not Buddhism. So this is supposed to be the main reason as to why he followed this policy. And after his brilliant conquest, Samudragupta went back to Pataliputra and performed an Ashwamedha sacrifice, a horse sacrifice. And for this brilliant campaigns of his and conquest of his, we have a British historian called Vincent A. Smith. Vincent Smith calls him as Indian Napoleon. He calls him as Indian Napoleon. Napoleon comes in the 18th and 19th century. When we do world history, so I'm the one who handles world history in Byju's. So when I do world history, we will talk about Napoleon Bonaparte. You have a section of world history in the mains, isn't it? So we will talk about it. So he comes only in the 18th and early part of the 19th century, Napoleon Bonaparte. But Napoleon was, of course, a great warrior. He was a great conqueror. But then he lost a number of battles. Towards the end of his life, he lost a number of battles, the Battle of Leipzig, the Battle of Waterloo, famous Battle of Waterloo, and he died the life of a prisoner. But here we see Samudragupta, he never saw any defeat throughout his life. After having conquered everything, he went back to his capital and he enjoyed the rest of his life, enjoying the tribute and the accolades from his from his princelings, and he was never anybody's prisoner. So anyway, Vincent A. Smith calls him as Indian Napoleon. Right? This is about Samudragupta. Clear? All of you, are you clear till here? I'll discuss the PPT till here, and then I'll proceed with the story. I know what happened after Samudragupta. That is, yeah, Samudragupta was prior to Napoleon. Vincent A. Smith, he was a British historian, Checha. So he was, of course, I told you, Napoleon was a great conqueror, but he compares Napoleon with Samudragupta, though Samudragupta was many generations behind Napoleon. In fact, Napoleon should have been called European Samudragupta, but then I don't think it would have been right to call him that, because I told you he never saw any defeat, unlike Napoleon. Once more, what, Vignesh? Once more, what? You have to ask me specifically, Vignesh. Okay, yeah, Checha, you're right. You're right. Vignesh, what once more you want? Can you be specific, Vignesh? No, wait. Brahman. So he wanted to promote Brahmanism. That is Vedic religion, Vignesh. The reason why he followed this policy was to see that the kings of South India, the 12 kings of South India, only promote Brahmanical religion or Vedic religion. He did not want Buddhism or any other religion to be promoted except Brahmanism or Vedic religion. So therefore, he appointed a class of officers in each of these kingdoms called Magadakulas, and specifically instructed them that they see to it that the kings of those respective kingdoms only promote Brahmanism or Vedic religion and not any other religion. And you see, many kings understand this. History, as it is said, repeats itself. Unless you don't learn lessons from history. Alauddin Khilji, you remember when we come to medieval India, we'll talk about it. Alauddin Khilji, one of the Delhi Sultans, he conquered South India. He sent his general called Malik Kafur to conquer South India, and he gave specific instructions to Malik Kafur. He told Malik Kafur, you defeat the kings of South India, but you don't kill them, don't annex their kingdoms, provided they pay tribute to me and accept me as my overlord, as their overlord. So accordingly, Malik Kafur comes to South India. He conquers present-day Maharashtra, ruled by the Yadavas of Devagiri. Then the king of the Yadavas agreed to accept Alauddin Khalji as his overlord and agreed to pay tribute. So he did not kill him, neither did he annex his kingdom. Then he goes to Andhra Pradesh, which was ruled by those days by the Kakatiyas. Kakatiya king was defeated. He also agreed to pay tribute and accept Alauddin as his overlord. So he was also spared and his kingdom was given back to him. Similarly, the same thing happened with the Hoysalas in Karnataka. And then he comes to the Pandyas. So Alauddin probably had learned his history lessons very well. And it was difficult during those days, given the the limitations of transport and communication, to directly rule over the south, sitting in the north. So Alauddin did not do that. Whereas Muhammad bin Tughlaq, who came after Alauddin, had not learned his history lessons properly. He tried to directly conquer South India and rule over South India, and that brought a lot of problems for him. And you have a number of revolts which took place towards the end of his reign. Last 10 years of his reign, we have a number of revolts which took place. So, anyway, just keep that in mind. We'll come back. So, this is about Samudragupta. So, let me just discuss till Samudragupta. Then I can tell you the story further. So Sri Gupta on your screen, you can see Sri Gupta was the founder of the Gupta dynasty. He took the title of Maharaja, which shows that he was a feudatory. But under whom he was a feudatory, we are not very sure. And he's supposed to build the Buddhist vihara at Mrugasikhavana. So you have the fourth Chinese traveler called Itzing. We'll talk about Itzing in the next chapter, post Gupta period. We'll talk about Itzing. So he was the fourth Chinese traveler to come to India, and according to him, this Sri Gupta built a vihara at a place called Mrugasikhavana in somewhere in West Bengal. Then we have Chandragupta the first, who took the title of Maharaja the Raja, which shows that he had an independent status, and he was the one who began to rule from February the 26th, 320 AD, and that is supposed to be the beginning of the Gupta era. As I told you, Gupta era begins from here. This is the beginning of the Gupta era. And he married the Lichavi princess called Kumara Devi, right? And their son was Samudragupta. So Samudragupta, greatest of the Gupta kings, 335 to 380 AD, greatest. Allahabad inscription uses his details of his victories. So 8 Aryavarta kingdoms, all the kings of North India were killed and the kingdoms annexed. So those kingdoms lay between Himalayas and Vindhyas. Then 5 Pratyanta kingdoms, that is border kingdoms like Kamarupa, Assam, Dhavaka, Kartipura or Kashmir, Samatata, Bengal, Nepal. So all these 5 border kingdoms were conquered. 18 Atavika Rajas, forest kingdoms located in the Vindhya mountains, were defeated and forced to pay tribute. 9 Ganarajas were also meted out the same treatment. Then via Orissa, you can see on the map here on your screen. You see the map on your screen here. This is the route taken by Samudragupta to come to South India. So via Orissa, he comes like this, wages war against all the kings of South India and goes back to Patliputra. So here we have the Dakshinapatha campaigns of Samudra, Dakshinapatha campaigns. So he defeated all the 12 kings of South India between the rivers Mahanadi and Kaveri, like Mahendra of Koshala, that is Orissa, Hastivarma of Vengi in Andhra, Vishnugopa, the king of the Pallavas, ruling from Kanchipuram in Tamil Nadu, and he followed a policy of Grahana, Moksha, Anugraha, conquest, liberation, reinstatement. Did you understand? So Sri Gupta, I've told you, Sri Gupta was the founder, Vignesh. So he took the title of Maharaja, which means to say that he had a feudatory status. He was not independent, he was probably under the Kushanas. And then he built a vihara at Mrugasikhavana. But then Chandragupta the first took the title of Maharaja the Raja, which means to say that he had an independent status. He was not under anybody's control. He was not working as a feudatory under anybody. Vignesh, are you there with me, Vignesh? Did you understand? Okay. Samudragupta so he followed a policy of Grahana, Moksha, Anugraha, conquest. Grahana is conquest. And Moksha is what? Liberation. Conquest, liberation, and Anugraha is what? Reinstatement. He reinstated those defeated kings back on their thrones and gave back their kingdoms. Okay, so Vincent A. Smith calls him as Indian Napoleon. Indian Napoleon. Right. So the next king, understand this. Um, so the next king to come to power was, understand this, I'll tell you the story. Can I continue the story of the Guptas? So we have discussed till Samudragupta. There's no contradiction, Puja. Where is the contradiction? Vaishnavism is Vishnu worship and Bhagavatism is Krishna worship. So Krishna is considered to be an avatar of Vishnu. And one more thing, during the Gupta period, the concept of avatars came into existence. I'll discuss that. Just hold on. Puja, we'll come back here. Just hold on. Do you want to go for a break or shall I continue the story? So if I start, then I may not be able to finish Chandragupta II in 10 minutes. So it will exceed 10 minutes. Now tell me, do you want to go for a break or it's okay if I exceed 10 minutes? Okay, I'll use my discretion. We'll go for a break. So you're giving me the discretion. We'll go for a break of 10 minutes. Is it okay? Can we go for a 10 minutes break and come back? 15 minutes. Okay. We'll meet at 7:05. Carry on. We'll meet at 7:05. So go for a break and we meet again at 7:05. Carry on. Good evening, everybody. Can we continue? Good evening once again. Yeah, can we continue? All are back. Am I audible and visible again? Great. So we have discussed the story of the Guptas till Samudragupta. So let me continue the political history of the Guptas. What happened after the death of Samudragupta? What happened after the death of the um, of of Samudragupta? Let's talk about it. Now, look here. Samudragupta had two sons. Samudragupta had two sons, Ramagupta, his eldest son, and Chandragupta II. Chandragupta II, his younger son. So Ramagupta was the eldest son, and Chandragupta II was the second son. And by the law of primogeniture, what is the law of primogeniture? By the law of primogeniture, that is, eldest son succeeding the father. Eldest son succeeding the father. That's called law of primogeniture. So by the law of primogeniture, Ramagupta became the king. Ramagupta became the Gupta king. Now understand this. So I'll draw a map here. So this is Patliputra here. Let's say this is Patliputra. Now, when Ramagupta was the Gupta king, we have a branch of the Shakas. Understand this? The ruling over Gujarat and Malwa. These are the Kardamaka branch of the Shakas. So we have a branch of the Shakas ruling this region. They were the Kardamaka branch. Kardamaka branch of the Shakas. And who was the Shaka king? His name was, understand this, his name was Basana. Someone just go, hold on, I'll come to that. They're the same. I'll just come to that. Hold on. Understand the story now. So here, when Ramagupta was the Gupta king, we have the Shaka king, Basana, the Kardamaka branch of the Shaka king called Basana, attacking the Gupta empire. He attacks the Gupta empire. And he defeats Ramagupta. Ramagupta was defeated by Basana. Okay, so Ramagupta was defeated. So I'll write here Ramagupta was the king. So Ramagupta was defeated. Now, what will an enemy do once the enemy has defeated Ramagupta? They will engage in loot and plunder. They will want to loot and plunder the Gupta kingdom. But then Ramagupta told Basana, I will give you a certain amount of money. So you have defeated me, I acknowledge that. I'll give you a certain amount of wealth, huge amount of wealth, as a reward for your victory. And along with that victory, along with that wealth, you can take my wife also along with you. So Ramagupta's queen was Dhruva Devi. Understand this? Ramagupta had a queen. Her name was Dhruva Devi. So Ramagupta tells Basana, along with the huge amount of wealth I will give you, you can take my queen also along. He never asked his queen, but Ramagupta was prepared to give or send away his queen Dhruva Devi to Basana. Now, did you understand? So here we have the Shakas who have stationed themselves in Patliputra. Ramagupta is playing host to them. He's playing host there. And Basana was given a tent. He was given a luxurious tent to stay there. And a lot of wealth was sent to him by Ramagupta. And one evening, the queen was supposed to be also sent to the tent of Basana. So when the younger brother of Ramagupta, Chandragupta II, came to know about this, that Ramagupta was prepared to send his queen also to the enemy Basana, his brother was very, very angry. Chandragupta II, the younger brother, was very, very angry. So we are told that Chandragupta II disguised himself as a female. He put on the dress of a female, maybe that of Dhruva Devi. He entered the apartment of Vasana, the tent of Vasana, and murdered Vasana. So Chandragupta II murdered Vasana. Okay, he killed him. Then he also killed his brother Ramagupta. Chandragupta II killed also his brother Ramagupta. And then married Dhruva Devi and came to power. Married Dhruva Devi and came to power. So this story is contained in a book called Devi Chandraguptam. Devi Chandraguptam, written by Vishaka Datta. Vishaka Datta wrote two books. One was Mudra Rakshasa, and the other book he wrote was Devi Chandraguptam. So this particular book talks about how Chandragupta II came to power after killing the Shaka king Basana, killing his elder brother Ramagupta, marrying his sister-in-law Dhruva Devi, and coming to power. So you might ask, why did he kill his brother Ramagupta, the king Ramagupta? Why did Chandragupta II kill Ramagupta? So obviously, the explanation given is somebody who cannot take care of his own wife, what will he take care of? His subjects. How safe will the women of the Gupta Empire feel under a king like Ramagupta, who was prepared to even barter his queen to the enemy? So therefore, Chandragupta II is justified in killing Ramagupta and he comes to power. Did you understand? This story is contained in the book Devi Chandraguptam. Did you understand this? Can you raise your hands? So this is how he comes to power. So Samudragupta was succeeded by Ramagupta, then Ramagupta was succeeded by Chandragupta II. Now, let me continue the story of Chandragupta II. So Chandragupta II comes to power. Now he marries Dhruva Devi. So Chandragupta II has married Dhruva Devi and he has become the Gupta emperor. Now, not that he did not marry other women, he married other women, including the daughter of Ganapati Naga. So we have Kuber Naga. So we have one of the very powerful kingdoms in central India called the Nagas. During those days, you have the Nagas ruling over central India. So he married Kuber Naga also. Kuber Naga, the daughter of Ganapati Naga, was married by him. Now, so Chandragupta II marries Dhruva Devi. And also he married Kuber Naga, the Naga princess. The son, understand this, the daughter born to Chandragupta II, and Dhruva Devi was Prabhavati Gupta. Understand this? Prabhavati Gupta. Prabhavati Gupta. Who is Prabhavati Gupta? The daughter born to, let me write it clearly, just hold on. Chandragupta II and Dhruva Devi is Prabhavati Gupta. Clear? Are you there with me? Now, there was a kingdom in present-day Maharashtra. Understand this? There was a kingdom in present-day Maharashtra ruled by a dynasty called the Vakatakas. So we have the Vakatakas ruling over present-day Maharashtra. Vakatakas. And who was the king of the Vakatakas? His name was Rudrasena II. Rudra Sena II. So he was the king of the Vakatakas. Chandragupta II gave his daughter in marriage to Rudrasena. So Prabhavati Gupta was married to Rudrasena. Prabhavati Gupta was given in marriage to the Vakataka king Rudrasena II. And what was the capital of the Guptas? Hello? What was the capital of the Guptas? Pataliputra, Ankush. You should use the word Pataliputra, not Patna. Pataliputra. So Pataliputra was the capital of the Guptas. Very good. Now look here. So he was there, in the Gupta capital. Chandragupta II was there in Patliputra. But unfortunately, what happened was here, Prabhavati Gupta was given in marriage to the Vakataka king, Rudrasena II, and she gave birth to one or two children. But unfortunately, within a very short period after her marriage, Rudrasena died. Prabhavati Gupta became a widow. Prabhavati Gupta became a widow because Rudrasena II died. Her husband died. And Prabhavati Gupta was alone. She had to take care of the kingdom, take care of the children. So therefore, the father, Chandragupta II, began to spend more time in the Vakataka kingdom. So he left Patliputra and he began to spend more time in the Vakataka kingdom. Who? Chandragupta II. Did you understand? So Chandragupta II began to spend more time. He was trying to help his daughter Prabhavati Gupta to pick up again, to piece together her life, and also help her running the kingdom of the Vakatakas. And this brought the Guptas close to the Shakas. The Kardamaka branch of the Shakas were ruling here. Remember, Kardamaka branch of the Shakas were ruling this area. Basana, of course, had been killed. But who was the Shaka king at that point in time? The Kardamaka Shaka king at that point in time. His name was Rudrasimha III. His name was Rudrasimha III. And Aparanta became the bone of contention between the Shakas and the Guptas. Aparanta, Konkan coast. Konkan coast, this area, the Konkan coast became the bone of contention. Aparanta became the bone of contention between the Guptas and the Shakas. So very fertile area, and also a lot of trade took place between with West Asia, West Africa, including the Roman Empire via the sea, via the Arabian Sea. So therefore, it was very profitable to bring that area, Aparanta, under their respective control. So when Chandragupta II was very close to the Shaka boundary, you have Chandragupta II attacking the Shakas. So Chandragupta II, the Gupta king, attacked the Shakas. He defeated and killed Rudrasimha III. Rudrasimha III was killed. So two Shaka kings were killed by Chandragupta II. One was Basana, and then the other was Rudrasimha III. And Chandragupta II took the title Sakari. He takes the title of Sakari. Sakari, the exterminator of the Shakas. Rudrasimha III can be called as the last Shaka king of India. He can be called as the last Shaka king of India. Rudrasimha III. He was the last Kardamaka Shaka king. So he took the title of Shakari. Who? Chandragupta II. And please understand, the Shakas used to mint silver coins. Shakas had minted silver coins in that area where they were ruling. So on the lines of the Shakas, this Chandragupta II also began to mint silver coins. So he was the first Gupta king. Chandragupta II was the first Gupta king to issue silver coins. He was the first Gupta king to issue silver coins. First Gupta king to issue silver coins. Okay. Now, hello, are you clear till here? Now, Chandragupta II shifted the capital. He makes Ujjain his second capital. Main capital was Patliputra, but then once he defeated the Shakas, he makes Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh. Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh becomes his second capital. Ujjain. So Ujjain became his second capital. And in the Ujjain court, at Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh, we have the Navaratnas. Navaratnas were in his court, including Kalidasa. Navaratna means 9 luminaries. 9 luminaries, literary luminaries or stars. 9 luminaries or Navaratnas. Clear? The class is paused. I don't think so. Anybody is having a problem? Hello, am I visible and audible? Sasha, you have to maybe refresh. Bimre says, please refresh. Everything is clear. So Shazia, please refresh your page. Shazia, then I think you should have no problem. Yeah, everything is clear. And others are not having a problem. Shazia, please refresh your page. I have to message her. How do I message her? Okay, I cannot message. Can I? Okay. What's your name? Shazia. Clear? Oh, you're right. Yeah, Jaswant, thanks for informing. When it's got paused, obviously she may not be able to hear me. Okay. Now we'll come back here. Are you clear till here? So he makes Ujjain his second capital, and in the Ujjain court we have the Navaratnas who were flourishing, the nine luminaries, nine great scholars like Kalidasa, Senku, Betara Bhatta, Ghatakarpraka, Kshipanaka, then Dhanavantri, so etc. So there were nine luminaries in the Ujjain court. And because of his great military achievements, Chandragupta II took a title, Vikramaditya. He takes a title, Vikramaditya. Vikramaditya. Vikrama a combination of valor and sun. Vikrama means valor, and Aditya means sun. So beautiful title he has taken, or he has been bestowed upon. Vikramaditya, a combination of valor and sun, whose valor shone like the sun. You can call it as that. Whose valor shone like the sun. So this is about Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya, and in Delhi, in the Qutub Minar complex, we have an iron pillar. Okay, I've shown you the picture, isn't it? Sometime back, I told you how the name Delhi has come about. So on that iron pillar, we have the name of a king called Chanda. Chanda has been mentioned on that iron pillar, and historians believe this Chanda was none other than Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya. So some of the military achievements of Chandragupta II are mentioned on that iron pillar. This is about Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya, right? So Vikram Vetal story, that is, this is not with respect to this Vikramaditya. This is supposed to be the other Vikramaditya, Vikram era. So this is named after Vikram era is named after another king called Vikramaditya. Vikrama era is from 56 BC. Ankush. Vikrama era starts from 56 BC. We are talking about AD. We are in the 5th century AD here. Guptas ruled from 275 to 550 AD. So Vikram era was established by another king called Vikramaditya in 56 BC. So probably that story of Vikram Betal is referring to that story, not this Vikramaditya. Is it clear? So Vikramaditya killed two Shaka kings. One is Basana and the other is Rudrasimha the third. Okay, are you there with me? What is not for me, Sharmi? Not for me what? Okay, so this is about Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya. So here we go back here. You can see on your screen. So we have discussed Samudragupta. We have discussed Chandragupta II. Then we come to Kumaragupta. So Chandragupta II was succeeded by his son Kumaragupta. Understand this? Kumaragupta is the person who introduced the worship of Kartike, or Muruga in North India. So Muruga, is a Tamil god. Yesterday's class we have seen he was the most important god of the Tamils. So Muruga, worship of Muruga was introduced in North India by Kumaragupta. So Muruga is also called Kartike. Kumaragupta is a person who built the Nalanda University. And this Nalanda University was a residential university. It had about 8,500 students, I believe, and 1,500 instructors or teachers. So it was a residential university where teachers also stayed along with the students. It had 3 libraries, and it had a number of alumni. So many of the students who passed out from Nalanda went abroad. They went as visiting faculties to other countries and they came back. So Dharmapala, Dharmakirti, Shilabhadra, these were some of the distinguished alumni of Nalanda University. And Hyun Sang visited Nalanda. Hyun Sang is the second Chinese traveler to come to India. He came during the time of Harshavardhana. We'll discuss about Harsha in some time when we come to the next chapter. And Harshavardhana gives details about Nalanda University. But unfortunately, in the 12th century Turkish attacks, so we have Bakhtiyar Khalji. We'll talk about him later. So Muhammad Ghori sent the two commanders to conquer a few parts of India. One was Bakhtiyar Khalji and the other was Qutbuddin Aibak. So Bakhtiyar Khalji conquered Eastern India, that is present-day Bengal, Bihar, etc. The Sena dynasty practically disappeared, because of Bakhtiyar Khalji. He brought an end to the Sena rule, and he destroyed the Buddhist universities: Nalanda, Vikramashila, Uddandapura, Jaggadala, Paharpur, Somapura. These are some of the Buddhist universities in Eastern India. There was a lot of wealth in these universities, sung in the sanghas and viharas. There was a lot of wealth. And Bakhtiyar Khalji was an iconoclast. That is, he did not believe in idol worship. Islam doesn't believe in idol worship. So he destroyed all those Buddha idols and plundered and looted those viharas and universities. And practically Buddhism disappeared from the land of its birth. So Nalanda University was also destroyed in these Turkish attacks of the 12th century AD of Bakhtiyar Khalji. Now, when Kumaragupta, understand this, when Kumaragupta was the Gupta king, we have the first attack of the Hunas or Huns from Central Asia. So we have the Huns who were basically from Central Asia. They're also called Hunas. The white Huns. So you have the black Huns and the white Huns. There are two groups of Huns. The black Huns are supposed to have destroyed the Roman Empire. In the 4th century AD, they destroyed the Roman Empire. These are the Epithelites or the white Huns. So a branch of the Huns attacked India. And we have Kumaragupta sending his son, Prince Skanda, to oppose the Hunas. So Skandagupta defeated the Hunas. He repelled the attack of the Hunas. After Kumaragupta, his son became the king, Skandagupta. Skandagupta became the king, and again the Hunas came, and again Skandagupta defeated them. So this was a great achievement of Skandagupta. The Hunas, who were responsible for destroying the Roman Empire, were defeated decisively by Skanda. And because of this achievement of his, some historians like K.P. Jaiswal consider Skandagupta as the greatest of the Guptas. He says, not Samudragupta, but Skandagupta should be considered as the greatest of the Guptas. And Skandagupta also installed a victory pillar, a Jayastamba, at Bitari in Madhya Pradesh. So, at a place called Bitari in Madhya Pradesh, he has installed a victory pillar commemorating or celebrating his victory over the Hunas. But then after Skandagupta, we have weak rulers. And again, the Hunas came repeatedly. They began to attack the Gupta Empire. So we have Narsimha Gupta Baladitya. He was the last great Gupta king. And after him, we have weak successors. The last Gupta king was Vishnu Gupta. So again, because of the repeated Huna attacks, the rise of feudatories and the decline of foreign trade undermined the Guptas. They were not able to withstand the onslaught of the Hunas. Kings like Vishnu Gupta. We have the feudatories, the Samantas under the later Gupta kings. So after Skandagupta, we have weak rulers. They were not able to withstand the attacks of the Hunas. So the feudatories under them began to assert their independence. So understand this, please. Now, who are the feudatories? What is the meaning here? Understand this. So here we have the Gupta Empire. Okay, imagine this is the Gupta Empire, and this is the king at the apex. This is the king at the center. So this is his core area. So he's ruling this core area. Okay. And what did the Gupta king do? The later Gupta kings. Later Gupta kings, that is after Skandagupta, they began to make land grants. What is the main reason? I'll tell you. You see, we have the Silk Route. You remember yesterday's class, Silk Route. So Silk Route used to pass through northwest portions of India, and it was the Kushanas who controlled the Silk Route. In the post-Maurya period, Kushans used to control the Silk Route, and they used to stop the silk merchants, and they used to extract taxes from them. This way, more gold and silver coins used to flow into North India. After the Kushanas, we have the Gupta kings who also were beneficiaries of this Silk Route. Gupta kings also used to collect taxes from the silk merchants. Hello, are you there with me? Uh, yeah, please try to understand this part here. Okay, please understand this part. So here, Gupta kings also were beneficiaries of the Silk Route. They would also collect taxes from the silk merchants. Now, around 550 AD, understand this. So there was a lot of gold. If I write a map like this, lot of gold was flowing into North India because of the Silk Route. Because of the Silk Route. And but again, around 550 AD, understand this, or about 550 AD, what happened? Middle of the 6th century AD. Now, how did the Chinese make silk? We have seen this. They used to rear silkworms. They used to feed the silkworm with mulberry leaf, mulberry plant, and then the silkworm keeps on munching on this on the mulberry leaf, and it starts weaving a cocoon around itself. Right? It puts on a huge amount of weight in a few weeks, and then it starts weaving a cocoon around itself. What the Chinese used to do is they used to throw this cocoon into hot boiling water. So the cocoon contains the silkworm, the live silkworm. So they will throw that cocoon into hot boiling water. The silkworm dies, and then they used to extract silk, the silk texture from the cocoon, and they used to make textiles. Now, please understand, there was a lot of demand for silk in Europe, a Chinese silk, and Europe was losing a lot of money to China. There was a drain of bullion, gold and silver coins into China. And what happened is, uh, and this had been kept a secret. How to make silk had been kept a secret by the Chinese. But around the middle of the 6th century AD, we are told that silkworms were smuggled into Europe. So what the Europeans did is they smuggled silkworms into Europe. Then they began to cultivate their own mulberry plants, and they began to rear silkworms, and they began to make their own silk. So once the Europeans began to make their own silk, the demand for Chinese silk collapsed. And the Silk Route, which had come into existence, also collapsed. All the cities and towns which had grown up on the Silk Route also collapsed. And the money, the gold and silver coins, which used to flow into North India, also dried up. Did you understand? It dried up. So later Gupta kings found it very difficult to pay salaries to their officers and soldiers, to their officers. They began to find it very difficult to pay officers salaries in gold and silver coins. So how to solve this problem? Because they had required the help of their officers to run the kingdom. So here later Gupta kings began to make land grants. In other words, they began to give away territories. Since they could not give salaries, they began to give away portions of their kingdom as fiefs or fiefs. So they began to give away fiefs or territories to their chiefs. And these are called the Samantas. So you have A, B, C, D, E, F, etc. These are the Samanta. Samanta means feudatory. Feudatory. In English, feudatory in or Samanta. Okay, they're called Samantas. So here a portion of the kingdom was given away to this Samanta. What was the duty of the Samanta of that area? For example, let us take the example of Samanta A. He has been given this portion of the Gupta kingdom. Okay, he has been given this portion. So what is his duty? His duty is to maintain law and order in that area. So he is supposed to maintain law and order in that area, collect land revenue from the farmers, and also act as a judge. Okay, so therefore, to maintain law and order, he has to keep an army. So he'll keep an army with him, right? And he'll have officials to assist him in the discharge of his duties. When the king went to war, so at the apex, when the king went to war, the Samanta will help the king with his army. He will send an army or a part of his army, and he will also accompany that army to help the king in his wars. So this is called Samanta Chakra. Understand this? This is called Samanta Chakra. Hello, are you there with me? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. This is the King Samanta Chakra. Now, as you can understand, this will work beautifully if the king is very strong. As far as the king is very strong, he will and he is keeping the Samantas under his control, it will work very beautifully. Now, the Samanta is literally a king in that area. Now, who do we call a king? Understand this, please. Whom do we call a king? Whom do we call a king? That person who has two powers. One is the power to punish. He has the power to punish. He has the power to tax. So when somebody has these two powers, power to punish and power to tax, you call that person as a king. Now, this Samanta has his army there. He has his own army, right? Then he's collecting taxes, and also he's a judge. So he's literally the king of that area. But then he's subservient to the king. He's working under the king, the Samanta. And as far as the king is able to control his Samantas, then everything will work beautifully. Now, let us say the king becomes weak. The king is succeeded by his son. Okay, and his son is a useless fellow. The Yuvaraja, the prince, is a useless fellow. He has no control over the Samantas. So what will happen? The Samantas will assert themselves. They will want to declare themselves free and independent. And that's what happened in the late and post-Gupta period. Once the central authority became weak, after Skandagupta, the central authority became weak. The central government became weak. The Samantas began to assert themselves, began to assert their independence. Why should we be accountable to the king? Why should we pay the excess taxes to the king? Because here, once he subtracts, so out of the gross land revenue, whatever land revenue collects from the farmers, he will deduct whatever is his salary and whatever he requires for the maintenance of his kingdom, maintenance of his fiefdom. Once he subtracts that or defrays the expenses from the gross land revenue collected, the rest of the money is sent to the king. So once the king is succeeded by a weak ruler, the Samanta will feel, why should I pay the excess amount of tax which I have collected to the king? Let me assert myself, let me break free and declare myself independent. And this is what happened. Because of the repeated Huna attacks, we have after Skandagupta, the later Gupta kings could not defeat the Hunas. And the Samantas took advantage of that and they began to assert their independence. And also we have the decline of foreign trade. That is, the Silk Road collapsed. The money which was hitherto flowing into North India dried up. And then the later Gupta kings found it very difficult to pay salaries to their officers. And they were forced to give away lands or certain territories of their kingdom to their feudatories or officers. And that is the beginning of Indian feudalism. So three reasons are responsible for the decline of the Guptas: the repeated Huna attacks, number two, the assertion of independence by the feudatories, and the decline of foreign trade. Are you there with me, all of you? This is about Gupta period. Clear? समझ में आ गया ना? All of you, hello. Clear? It's very simple. When you read the textbook, you try to relate to whatever I have told you, and then you'll be able to easily understand. We'll come back here. We'll continue the story of the Guptas. We just discussed the PPTs on your screen. We have discussed up till Samudragupta now on your screen. So Samudragupta was succeeded by Ramagupta. Then Ramagupta was killed by his younger brother Chandragupta II, and he comes to power. So on your screen, Chandragupta II, he occupied Ujjain by defeating the Shaka king Rudrasimha III, and thereafter assumed the title Shakari, and also took the title Vikramaditya. Ujjain became his second capital, and Rudrasimha III can be called as the last Shaka king of India. So here Chandragupta II also married Kuber Naga, the daughter of Ganapati Naga, and he got his daughter married, Prabhavati Gupta, married to Rudrasena, the Vakataka king. And I told you, once Rudrasena II died, he began to spend more and more time in the Vakataka kingdom. And that resulted in the Guptas coming close to the western boundaries, Aparanta coast. And that brought Chandragupta II in conflict with the Shaka king, Rudrasimha III. So, and he killed him and took the title of Shakari. And then he makes Ujjain his second capital. And in the Ujjain court, we have Navaratnas. Navaratnas were there. And the 9 luminaries, and the Gupta age is considered to be the golden age of Sanskrit literature. In the Ujjain court, we have the Navaratnas. So I have mentioned it here, I think. So Ujjain became the second capital of the Guptas, right? And these are the Navaratnas, 9 luminaries. So I have put in a sequential order. The first 6 are literate years. They were all literate years: Kalidasa, Amarasimha, Senku, Betara Bhatta, Ghatakarpaka, Kshipanaka. They were all literators. Then Varaha Mihira was an astronomer, astrologer. Vararuchi, expert in cooking. Sunapa Shastra, he was a royal chef. Sunapa Shastra, expert in cooking. And Dhanavantri was the doctor, medicine, expert in medicine. These are the Navaratnas in the court of Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya, in the Ujjain court. Remember that, not in the Patliputra court, they were in the Ujjain court. Then I have given a chart about the various books written by various scholars during the Gupta period, particularly during the period of Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya. Kalidasa was the foremost among these scholars. Kalidas. So he wrote 3 dramas and 4 poems. Understand and remember them. Drama, Abhignana Shakuntalam. I have told you the story. Remember when I did Vedic period, when I did Gandharva marriage. When I explained to you Gandharva marriage, I told you the story of Abhignana Shakuntalam. You remember love story of Shakuntala and King Dushyanta. So Shakuntala was the daughter of Vishwamitra and Menaka. So Abhignana Shakuntala, the recognition of Shakuntala, beautiful story. It is considered to be one of the masterpieces of world literature, not just Indian literature, world literature. Abhignana Shakuntala. Then Malavika Agnimitra, the love story, the romance and marriage of Malavika with Agnimitra, the Shunga king Agnimitra. Then Vikram Urvashi. So here, look here, this is a story of Urvashi. Urvashi was one of the Apsaras, dancers in the court of Indra. And there's this king called Vikrama who's meditating. He's doing penance. And Indra wants to disturb Vikrama. So he sends Urvashi to disturb Vikrama. And Urvashi manages to disturb Vikrama, and then, they fall in love with each other. At least, it looks like initially she acts as if she's falling, she's in love with him. In fact, she has come to disturb him. But then she successfully disturbs him. And then she goes back to Indralok. And when she goes back to Indralok, she realizes that she's missing Vikrama. And then she tells Indra, this Urvashi, that it looks like I've fallen in love with Vikrama. I want to go back to the earth and join Vikrama. So Indra, gives her the gate pass and sends her. So Urvashi comes and joins Vikrama. This is a love story. Vikram Urvashiyam. Did you understand? Vikram Urvashiyam. Yeah, all that stories there, Ankush. Lot of stories are there. I don't have time to discuss all those things. Of course, Kalidasa was supposedly an illiterate person, and then he had the blessings of Kali Mata, the goddess Kali, and then he became Kalidas. That is what is told. So these 3 dramas are called Natakatraya. Natakatraya. Then we have the poems Kumara Sambhava, the birth of Kumara Swami to Shiva and Parvati. So he killed Tarakasura, isn't it? Kartike or Subramanya is supposed to have killed Taraka, a demon called Tarakasura. So he took birth on this earth to kill Tarakasura. So that is the story, Kumaraswamy. Then Meghaduta. Look at the imagination of Kalidas. Meghaduta. This is a poem written by Kalidasa. Meghaduta. So there's a Yaksha. Yaksha is a tree spirit living in the Vindhya mountains. And his wife is in the Himalayas. So Vindhyas is in the central portion of India, as you all know. And his wife is in the Himalayas. And this Yaksha is very busy. He cannot go and meet his wife personally. So he wants to send a message to his wife, his beloved wife. So he sent, and there's a cloud passing by. There's a cloud going towards North India. So through the cloud, he sends a messenger. He sends a message to his beloved. Megha Duta. Duta is messenger. Megha is cloud. Cloud messenger. So look at the imagination of Kalidasa. Beautiful, isn't it? Cloud messenger. Megha Duta. Then Ritu Samhara describes the different seasons of India. And Raghuvansha. This is a story of Rama. It is an incomplete story. These are the works of Kalidas. Then we have Vishnu Sharma, who wrote Panchatantra. So these are all the great scholars in the Gupta period. That's why it is called the golden age of Sanskrit literature. Yeah, Mega says my name is also Cloud. Very good, Mega. Okay, very good. You send a message to UPSC and clear. So, right, all the best. We'll come back here. So Vishnu Sharma, all the best, Mega. Don't take me otherwise. All the best for you. So here, Vishnu Sharma wrote Panchatantra. Panchatantra. This was translated into Arabic later by Ibn al-Mukaffa. So Ibn al-Mukaffa translated the Panchatantra into Arabic under the title Kalile Dimna. So Panchatantra became Kalile Dimna. Then Amarasimha wrote Amarakosha. Amarakosha is a Sanskrit lexicon. What's a lexicon? Collection of dictionaries. Lexicon is a collection of dictionaries. Collection of dictionaries. Right? Then Vararuchi. Vararuchi, he writes a grammar book called Prakrita Prakasha. He is the only Prakrit poet among the Navaratnas. Remember that? He's the only Prakrit poet. Rest of all were Sanskrit poets. Then Dhanavantri, he writes medical books like Roga Nidan, Vaidya Chintamani. He was a student of Shushruta. Shushruta he was a surgeon. So a student of Shushruta was Dhanavantri, who wrote Roga Nidan, Vaidya Chintamani. Then Shushruta wrote Shushruta Samhita, a book on surgery. Then Aryabhatta was an astronomer. He writes Surya Siddhanta and Aryabhatyam. So in the Surya Siddhanta, it talks about the heliocentric theory, the sun is the center of the universe, revolution of the earth, causes for solar and lunar eclipses. He also gives the decimal system and theory of zero in the Aryabhatyam. So Aryabhatyam is a book on mathematics. Then Varaha Mihira, he writes Brihat Samhita, an encyclopedia of Indian sciences, Pancha Siddhantika on astronomy. Then Brahmagupta, Khandana Khadya. Khandana Khadya. He's called Indian Newton. So I told you, Brahmagupta said that it is a nature of the earth to attract and keep things to itself. So in other words, he was talking about gravitation, Brahmagupta. Then Shudrakha, he writes a drama called Mrichakatika, the little clay cart. I told you, a pious Brahmin falls in love with a courtesan called Vasanta Sena. So it talks about the Gupta society. This book, Mrichakatika, talks about the Gupta society, gives information about Gupta society. Then Bharavi, he writes a book called Kirata Arjunia. Bharavi writes Kirata Arjunia. This is more of a book. So this is Bharavi was in the Pallava court. Bharavi was in the Pallava court, and Pallavas also ruled parallelly along with the Guptas. So this is a story of Kirata and Arjunia. Kirata Arjunia. Do you want me to tell the story? Kirata Arjunia. The story of Arjuna and Shiva in the guise of a hunter. Sapna, yeah, if they ask you in the mains, then they have asked you how can the Gupta period be called as a golden age of literature, or highlight the development of Sanskrit literature during the Gupta period. Obviously, you have to at least give some examples. So for you to give examples, you have to know these facts. So these are all factual in nature. So you try to remember at least 8 to 10 of the scholars and the books they wrote. That way you'll be able to write a 200 to 50 word answer. So try to, it's very easy actually if you keep on revising. And I told you, make cue cards and write it in small fonts and keep revising. Revision is part of your preparation. And go on YouTube. You go on YouTube, you have some videos how to read effectively or study effectively, how to make notes. Such things are there. How to revise effectively, etc. Some 10 to 15 minutes videos are there. You try to inculcate those study techniques. In your studies, you'll become. The point is not only to work hard, but to work smart also, isn't it? So that you have time for other things. So learn to work smart, not just hard. Both are important. So from those videos, you try to incorporate those techniques. Now let me tell you the story of Kirata Arjunia, written by Bharavi. Kirata Arjunia. Okay, Kirata Arjunia, written by Bharavi. Now, let me tell you the story. So here, this is a story, I believe, which took place before the Mahabharata war. This happened before the Mahabharata war between the Kauravas and the Pandavas. And you all know Arjuna was a great archer, isn't it? Arjuna is called Madhyama Pandava. Arjuna is also called Madhyama Pandav. So there were five Pandava brothers: Yudhishthir or Dharmaraja, Bhima, then Arjuna. Arjuna is the middle one. Then Nakula and Sahadeva. So that's why he's called Madhyama Pandava, Arjuna. And Arjuna was a great archer, right? And he was also a person who was a great Shiva devotee. So he was supposed to be a true Shiva devotee, Arjuna. And among the various skills he had, among the various skills in archery he had, one was Shabdavedi Ban. What is called? Shabdavedi Ban. That is what is Shabdavedi Ban. That is, without seeing the target, just by hearing the sound, Arjuna could aim and hit the target. For example, let us say he's going in a forest, and from a particular distance, so there are trees all around, thick foliage is there, thick forest is there all around him, and from a particular distance, from a particular direction, he hears a sound, right? He is not able to see which animal or who is making that sound, but then just by the sound he can take aim, and then he will discharge the arrow, and that arrow will go and hit the target. So he had that skill. That's called Shabdavedi Ban. Anyway, the story goes like this. Shiva and Parvati are on their Shiva and Parvati are on my Mount Kailas. So this is Mount Kailas. So Shiva is sitting with his wife. This is Parvati here. So both of them are sitting and chatting. And Shiva is praising Arjuna. He is telling Parvati what a great devotee he is. Very true devotee of mine, one of the great devotees of mine, and at the same time a great archer. And nobody has defeated him. In other words, Arjuna has not shown his back to anybody. He has not shown his back to anybody. That means nobody has been able to defeat Arjuna in archery. So such a great archer he is. So Parvati, Arjuna, Shiva's wife, is quietly listening to her husband. And Shiva is going on and on praising Arjuna. Then she turns to Shiva, Parvati, and tells her husband, I want to see Arjuna's back. Back. Stomach is there, back. I want to see his back. In other words, I want to see him defeated. I want to see his back. So, Shiva tries to dissuade Parvati, discourage her or dissuade her. But Parvati says, I want to see Arjuna's back. And you fulfill my wish. So, wife is demanding. So, Shiva has to fulfill. Otherwise, she will not give him lunch and dinner on breakfast. So, what happens is, Shiva comes down to earth. And he takes the guise of a hunter. He takes the form of a hunter. And I believe Arjuna has gone into the forest for hunting wild animals. And then he hears a sound. He hears a sound from a particular distance. He's not able to see the target, but he hears a sound. And presuming that to be an animal, he takes aim and then he discharges his arrow. And that arrow goes and hits a wild boar. It goes and hits a wild boar. And the arrow has hit the wild boar, and the wild boar is screaming, in pain. And Arjuna runs in the direction in which he has shot the arrow. And when he reaches that spot, he sees that a wild boar has died. But not one arrow, but two arrows have struck the wild boar. So imagine this is the wild boar. This is the wild boar, but two arrows have struck the wild boar. This is the wild boar. Okay. Two arrows have struck the wild boar. And just then the Kirata comes. Kirata is the hunter. Kirata is the hunter. Actually, it is Shiva. Kirata is hunter, who is actually Shiva in the guise of a hunter. Right? And then, so there are two arrows which have struck the wild boar. And then Arjuna tells the hunter that that boar belongs to me. My arrow has killed the wild boar, therefore that wild boar should belong to me. The hunter replies to Arjuna, how do you say that? That your arrow killed the wild boar. Maybe my arrow might have hit the wild boar first and then killed it, and then your arrow might have struck the wild boar. So Arjuna laughs at the Kirata. Don't you know who I am? I am Arjuna, the best archer in this world. So the hunter Shiva realizes that Arjuna has got a lot of ego. No, he has got a lot of ego now, filled with ego, and that ego has to be smashed to pieces. So he replies to Arjuna, I don't care who you are. You may be anybody. But as far as my knowledge goes, as you can see, my arrow also has hit the wild boar, and therefore that wild boar should belong to me. So this argument goes on between Arjuna and the hunter. Ultimately, to solve the problem, the hunter, that is Shiva, proposes a duel. He tells Arjuna, let us have a one-to-one combat, one-to-one fight. And whoever wins will claim that boar has the prize. So Arjuna begins to laugh at the hunter and tells the hunter, I am Arjuna, don't you know me? And I have defeated so many great people, uh, and his distinguished combatants have defeated in various types of war and battles. And this ordinary hunter is challenging me. So he laughs at the hunter, and anyway, he accepts the challenge. Arjuna is very overconfident because he feels he can easily defeat the hunter. So then they begin to fight, no? Arjuna and the hunter. Now, in the first round of the fight, it is Arjuna who is winning, and the hunter is allowing him to win. In other words, the hunter Shiva is allowing him to win. So the hunter is on the ground on his back, and Arjuna is sitting on him, and he is nicely punching him. So imagine this. Use your visualization. The hunter is on his back, and Arjuna is sitting on his tummy, on the hunter's tummy, and he is smashing him to pieces, nicely thrashing him. That's the time when the hunter waves to Parvati. So he waves to Parvati like this and tells her, look, look, you wanted to see his back, isn't it? Now you see his back. So Parvati from the sky, she waves to Shiva. Okay, I have seen his back. Did you understand what I just now told you? Did you get me that? Right. Hello, can you raise your hands? So Parvati signals that she has seen his back. And now the tables are turned. The tables are turned by the hunter. So the hunter flips Arjuna easily, and then he begins to hammer him, like Tyson punches. He begins to smash him. And Arjuna has never received such solid punches from anybody. So he's been treated like a tennis ball, from this side to that side by the hunter. And Arjuna realizes that this is not an ordinary man. I have fought great people, very strong people, but never has anybody given thrashing like me. So he, you know, folds his hands before the hunter and tells him, you are not what you are claiming to be. You are somebody else. And I have fought so many people, but nobody has hit me so badly as you. You are hitting me. So please show me your true form. So Shiva also had given him enough, and he had realized that his ego has been busted now. Arjuna's ego has been busted. So here we have the hunter appearing before Arjuna, and he shows his true form. Shiva comes along with his wife Parvati, and Arjuna is shocked. He's surprised. He's at the same time very happy. He falls at the feet of Shiva, and he asks Shiva, "What is all this drama? Why all this drama?" And then Shiva tells, Paru wanted to see your back, my wife Parvati wanted to see your back. And that's why I had to play this drama. So then Arjuna is supposed to have replied, if you had just shown me, if you had just told me, I would have shown my back to her. Why should why did you hit me or thrash me like a street dog? Anyway, Shiva laughs at Arjuna, and then he touches Arjuna, a magic touch, and all the pain and the discomfort goes away. And as a reward, Shiva grants a boon, grants a weapon to Arjuna. That is the Pashupata Astra. The Pashupata Astra. Something like Brahmos missile of those days, Pashupata Astra, which Arjuna uses later in his war against the Kauravas. In the Mahabharata war, he uses that weapon against the Kauravas. This is the story called Kirata Arjunia, written by Bharavi. Right? Did you understand? So this is again written in the Gupta period. So we'll come back here. Just hold on. I hope you understand. Did you understand this? Did you enjoy the story? This is the story. Kirata Arjunia, written by Bharavi. combat between Shiva and Arjuna. Then Subandhu wrote Vasavadatta. This is the romance and marriage of Prince Kandarpaketu with Princess Vasavadatta. Right? Then Vishakadatta. So we have already discussed this. Vishakadatta writes two books. One is Mudra Rakshasa, a drama called Mudra Rakshasa. How he wins over Rakshasa, Chanakya wins over Rakshasa to the side of the Mauryas. The story of Chandragupta and is coming to power with the help of Kautilya, Minister Rakshasa, and his signet ring, Mudra Rakshasa. And another drama written by the same author is Devi Chandraguptam. I have told you the story. That is how Chandragupta II kills Basana, kills his elder brother Ramagupta, marries his sister-in-law Dhruva Devi, and comes to power. Still is sister-in-law. Make that correction, please. Sister-in-law Dhruva Devi, and comes to power. Vagbhata, he wrote Ashtanga Sangraha, a summary of 8 branches of medicine. So these are the various scholars and various books written by these scholars during the Gupta period. And no doubt, Gupta period is called Golden Age of Sanskrit literature. Did you understand why it is called Golden Age of Sanskrit literature? Because of this reason. So many books written on various subjects by distinguished luminaries. Then, of course, we have Kumaragupta, during whose reign we have we have a very powerful tribe called the Pushyamitras. So they defeated the Gupta army. They were a very powerful tribe, the Pushyamitras, and we have the first attack of the Hunas. Hunas invaded India for the first time during the time of Kumaragupta. He introduced the worship of Kartikeya in North India, built the Nalanda University, and Yun Sang talks about the Nalanda University. So this is the Nalanda University, the ruins of the Nalanda University in Bihar. It had 3 libraries, Ratna Dadi, Ratna Ranjaka, Ratna Sagara. There were about 8,500 students living here. 8,300 students, 1,500 instructors were living in the Nalanda University. And because of the Turkish attacks of the 12th century, it was destroyed. Then we have Skandagupta. So they had to fight, he and his successors had to fight against the Hunas. And he defeated the Hunas and he installed a victory pillar at Bitari. Right? And his governor, Chakrapalita, repaired the Sudarshana lake for the last time. The Junagadh rock inscription talks about it, isn't it? Skandagupta's governor of Junagadh, by name Chakrapalita, repaired the repaired the Sudarshana lake for the last time. Then Narasimhagupta Baladitya, he was one of the last rulers of the Gupta dynasty, and he is supposed to have built a vihara at Ratnagiri in Odisha. So Ratnagiri in Odisha, make that addition, please, in your notes. Odisha. So Ratnagiri in Odisha, he built one Mahavira Vihara there, and he defeated the Huna king Mihirakula. He defeated the Huna king Mihirakula, right? Then Vishnugupta was the last ruler of the Gupta dynasty. By 550 AD, the Guptas had lost all their territories. The Guptas had lost all their territories by 550 AD. So we have the repeated attacks of the Hunas, the assertion of independence by the feudatories. The feudatories began to assert their independence, and of course, the decline of foreign trade. All these things undermined the Guptas. Yeah, you have a webinar. Okay, I'll end my class about 10 minutes early. Is it fine? Let me finish the Guptas today. Let me finish the Guptas. Just focus on the class. We have another 25 minutes for the webinar, but today I want to finish the Guptas. It won't take much time for me. So let us finish the Guptas. Roshan, what are you asking me? Who have founder? You're not very clear, Roshan. You have to ask me the question properly. Bhimare, I told you, I told you how the Silk Route fell. The Silk Route fell because the Europeans smuggled silkworm into Europe, and they began to grow their own mulberry plant and rear silkworms and make silk themselves. So they were no more dependent on the Chinese silk. As a result, the Silk Road collapsed. Nalanda University was founded by Kumaragupta, Roshan. Kumaragupta was the one who founded the Nalanda University. So he founded the Nalanda University. Go through the PPTs, it is there. Read the textbook. After that, read the textbook. The basic information is there in the PPTs, little bit more than basic. Okay, so you can see here on the ruins of the Guptas, we have the political fragmentation of North India. North India came to be politically fragmented, North and Central India. So we have the Hunas ruling over parts of Malwa. Okay, then we have the Maukharis ruling over Kannauj. The Chandras ruled over Bengal. The Gaudas ruled over Karna Suvarna, Gaudas of Bengal. Then the Vallabhis, the Maitrakas ruled over Vallabhi. So North India came to be parceled out among the various feudatories of the Guptas. So Hunas ruled over Malwa, parts of central India. Later Yashodharman defeated the Malwas. Yashodharman of Malwa defeated the Hunas. The Maukharis ruled from Kannauj as capital. Then later Guptas ruled from Patliputra. Patliputra was their capital. Later Guptas, they have no connection with the original Guptas as such. The Maitrakas of Vallabhi ruled over Gujarat, Chandras of Bengal. So this is how North India broke up after the decline of the Guptas. Are you there with me? North India broke up after the decline of the Guptas. Yeah, Bhimare, yeah, Chinese did not tell anyone. Why will the Chinese tell? This is how to make silk. Europeans wouldn't have, bothered. They would have made their own silk. Chinese wanted to do business. They wanted the gold coins and the silver coins, which was flowing into China. So they kept it a secret, and they made a lot of money at the cost of the Europeans. And later, the Europeans learned the technique of the Chinese technique of making silk. I've already told you this, Bhimare. In the class, I've told you. Clear? I've told everybody. Right. Now let us look at the other aspects of Gupta rule. We have the empire. Gupta empire was divided into provinces called Bhuktas under Uparika. So governors were called Uparika. So empire was divided into provinces called Bhuktas under Uparika, governors called Uparika. Provinces were subdivided into districts called Vishaya under a Vishayapati. And you have a village under or a grama under a village headman. So grama, village headman was the head of a village, and cities were administered by merchant councils called Nigama Sabhas. Nigama Sabhas are council of merchants, ran the cities. Some important Gupta officials on your screen. Sandhi Vigrahaka, in charge of foreign affairs. For example, Harisena, the person who wrote the Allahabad Prashasti, was a Sandhi Vigrahaka and Maha Dandanayaka in the court of Samudragupta. So Sandhi Vigrahaka means in charge of foreign affairs, Minister of War and Peace, that is in charge of foreign affairs. Kumara Matya, they were higher officials employed in different departments. Maha Baladikrita, commander of military forces. Bhatta Ashwapati, but Ashwa, as you know, is horse. You remember the key word here, Ashwa. Ashwa is horse. So Bhatta Ashwapati, commander of cavalry. Then Katuka or Pilupati, he was in charge of the elephantry. Danda Pasadikarana, head of the police department. Danda is, police. Then Shaurkika, where customs officers. Hiranika, Audrangika, tax collectors. Mahadandanayaka, chief justice. Chief justice was called Mahadandanayaka. Then Bhakti-centric Hinduism evolved during this period. Bhakti-centric Hinduism, and most of the sects either merged into Vaishnavism or Shaivism. So in Hinduism got divided into two major sects, Vaishnavism and Shaivism. Shaivism is worship of Shiva. Vaishnavism is worship of Vishnu. And Guptas were followers of Vishnu. They were Vaishnavites. They were used to worship Vishnu, particularly the Varaha avatar of Vishnu. Varaha, the boar avatar of Vishnu, the boar incarnation of Vishnu. So that was their royal emblem. The royal emblem, that was the royal emblem, Varaha. Their emblem was Varaha, and that was their family deity. And we have the concept of Dashavatara, that is the 10 avatars of Vishnu. Dasha avatar. Dash is 10, as you know, avatar is incarnation. So what are the 10 avatars of Vishnu? There are other versions of avatars of Vishnu, but this is the most popular version. 10 different avatars. You can see here, I put that in a sequential order. Remember them? Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narsimha, Vamana. Parashurama, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, Kalki. This is the 10 most popular version of avatars of Vishnu. Matsya. So Vishnu is supposed to have taken the form of a gigantic fish, Matsya, fish, and saved Manu from flood, right? In order to save the human race from extinction. Matsya. Kurma is tortoise. So when the demons, that is the Rakshasas, and the Suras, that is the gods, Devas and Rakshasas, were fighting for the Amrut, the elixir, we have Vishnu carrying the Mandara mountain on his back in the form of a tortoise. So he took the form of a tortoise and carried the mountain, Mandara mountain, on his back. Kurma. Then Varaha. So Lord Vishnu takes the form of wild boar. So we have this demon called Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha, is supposed to have kidnapped the Mother Earth, the Prithvi, goddess Prithvi, and took her into the ocean and hid her there. So Vishnu is supposed to have taken the form of a wild boar, and then he went down into the ocean and rescued Mother Earth from Hiranyaksha and killed Hiranyaksha. Next is Narasimha, that is man lion. And who was, here Vishnu takes the form of man lion to kill Hiranyakashipa. Hiranyakashipa was the younger brother of Hiranyaksha. So Vishnu had taken the form of wild boar to kill Hiranyaksha. So that angered his younger brother Hiranyakashipa. So Hiranyakashipa is supposed to have taken a boon from Brahma. Remember the story of Prahalad, Prahalad's story here. Hiranyakashipa takes the boon from Brahma, neither in the day nor in the night, neither by a man or a woman, neither inside or outside, right? Neither by animal or human should I die. The death should not come from any of these things, neither in the day or night, either inside or outside. That is inside the palace or outside the palace, neither by a man or a woman or by a human being or an animal should my death come. And Brahma says tatastu. And he goes on a killing spree, disturbing the gods and also the human beings. And ultimately Vishnu takes the form of a man lion, neither a male, neither a man or an animal. So he's both a man and an animal. Then he defeats Hiranyakashipa, and then he takes his body, he lifts him at the threshold of the house. That is where you enter the house, the threshold. So he says neither inside or outside. So he places him in the threshold. Then he chooses the right time, the dusk, neither in the day or in the night. He says in the dusk. So it's neither fully dark, neither it is fully bright. So in the dusk, he kills him and opens his tummy. A nice story to hear. So this is Narasimha story. Did you understand? And neither Astra or Shastra. Okay, that's fine, Sakshi. Then Vamana. So he is supposed to have taken the form of Vamana to send Bali. So Bali was the demon king of Kerala. So Vishnu is supposed to have taken the three Vikrama form. So in one stride he covers the entire universe, entire Earth. In another stride he covers the other part of the universe, and there is no other space for the third stride. And Bali is supposed to have put his head down and he crushed him. So Malayalis, the Malayalis from Kerala, they celebrate Onam. They celebrate the death of Bali Chakravarti. That is Onam, in memory of Emperor Bali. So Onam is celebrated then. Then Parashurama. Parashurama here, I'll tell you another story, of Parashuram. I don't have the time to tell you stories. Just hold on. I'll tell you the story either way. It is in the context of the exam. It is important because UPSC has asked questions. So Parashurama. So Parashurama. This is supposed to be the sixth avatar of Vishnu. Parashurama, sixth avatar of Vishnu. So who was the father of King? Who was the father of Parashuram? His father's name was Sage Jamadagni. Sage Jamadagni. Sage Jamadagni. And Sage Jamadagni had a cow with him. Understand this? He had a cow with him, a magical cow. So what was the name of that cow? Kamadenu. Kamadenu. Name of the cow. So it was a magical cow. You ask the cow anything, it will give you. For example, if you ask, I want a Rolls Royce car in front of my house, it'll suddenly a Rolls Royce will appear. You want to go to America and meet the president, you'll suddenly find yourself in the president's chamber, American president's chamber. So the cow could do anything. It was a magical cow. Right, and there was a king called Kartavirya. So there was an evil king called Kartavirya, and this Kartavirya wanted to steal the cow. So if he steals the cow, he felt that he can possess anything. So he's supposed to have gone to the ashram of sage Jamadagni. Parshurama was not there at that point in time. He had gone somewhere. So when and he had come there, King Kartavirya with his soldiers had come to steal the cow. When sage Jamadagni tried to stop him from stealing the cow, King Kartavirya killed Jamadagni, killed the father of Parshuram, sage Jamadagni. He stole the cow and ran away. He went away. So Parshurama is supposed to come to his father's ashram, and when he comes there, what does he see? His father is killed, the cow is missing. And he comes to know that this Kshatriya king called Kartavirya is responsible for the death of his father and the theft of the cow. So Parshurama takes his battle axe. He takes his battle axe and he decides to kill all the Kshatriyas on the earth. This is the story. Parshurama. So Lord Vishnu as warrior sage with an axe who terminated the Kshatriyas by killing their king Kartavirya. Did you understand? So, so he was a demon, Somu. He says he was a good demon king. See, even Ravana was a good fellow. Even Ravana was a good demon king, but then his mind changed. So, isn't it? That is a misjudgment. A moment of lapse. So he kidnapped Sita and brought her. So that brought about his downfall. So otherwise, he was a very nice fellow, Ravana. So similarly, there must be some reason as to why Vishnu killed Bali. So don't feel bad, but that's all. That's a mythological story. We'll come back here. Then Sri Rama. So he killed Rama. He killed Ramana holding a bow. King Rama holding a bow. He killed the demon king of Lanka. Then Krishna kills Kamsa to preserve dharma. You know that. His uncle Kamsa. Then Buddha, understand this. Tomorrow, I don't have the time to explain today because you have a webinar, you say. I have 3 more minutes for 8:20. So Buddha is the 9th avatar of Vishnu. Supposedly the 9th avatar. Buddha never believed in God. Neither did he give any statement about the presence or absence of God. But then Buddha was made an avatar of Vishnu, the 9th avatar. And the last or yet to come is Kalki. So he's supposed to occur or appear at the end of Kali Yuga. So at the end of Kali Yuga, Kalki will appear. So these are the 10 incarnations of Vishnu. Right? Now, let me give you the reason. Okay, I think I have run out of time today. You have a webinar at 8:30. It is almost 8:20 now. Should I stop the class so that you can have a 10 minutes break before you go to the webinar? Hello, all of you. I'll continue from here onwards tomorrow, next class. That is the day after tomorrow. Yeah, Ankush is right. Demon and good don't match. It's like politicians and honest. Okay. So will continue from Shaivism. Next class, that is day after tomorrow, we'll finish Gupta period and post-Gupta period. So I'll finish ancient India day after tomorrow. Tomorrow is a holiday because of May Day, Labor Day, and we'll meet day after tomorrow. And once I finish ancient India, I'll give you an overview of medieval Indian history. Okay, so we'll meet day after tomorrow at the same time. So you have a happy holiday tomorrow. Please make best use of the holiday. Study hard. We'll meet day after tomorrow. So I'm logging out now because you have a webinar at 8:30. So you can have a dinner in 10 minutes and then sit for the webinar. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this session. We'll continue day after tomorrow. Thank you. Good night. I'm logging out. Any doubts, please mail me, vijay.kumar@byju's.com.